That's why all those skinny girls like me. Skinny girls like big guys. They just want to crush them.
Indian person, they like how to say motherfucker. Mother children.
Welcome to the From the Other Side live show podcast. The live show will begin in 2 minutes. Grab a snack and a drink and sit down to watch another one of our great live shows. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and share the live show video link. Enjoy the show. The live show will begin in 1 minute. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and share the live show video link.
Please like and leave a comment, and share this video.
Hello everybody, welcome to live show 100, our 100th live show, coming to you from a chilly Minsk, Belarus. It's around -1. It's Sunday, December the 22nd, 2024, and we're streaming live on Rumble and YouTube. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, share this video, it really helps us grow and reach more viewers, and we've just hit just over 1,000 subscribers on Rumble. Let's get on with the show, and I'll introduce our gang for today. Let's have a look. And there's Michael. How you going, Michael?
Oh, just hanging out, having a few brewskis. Yeah. So.
Bought your portable bar?
I did. I brought a lot of alcohol today.
That's good. And we've got Andrew.
Nice to be back. I have some alcohol too, some homemade something that I forgot what it is, but it's from some sort of berries.
Okay. And that's Steve. He'll be here soon. So there you go. So Steve will be here soon, and then we'll get home with it. So what's been going on, everybody?
Just working on getting my lab up and running. Like we were talking about dealing with Belarusian businesses. Sometimes they're not the quickest to respond to your messages. So just waiting to get everything all sorted out.
You? How's the love life?
I'm single again. So,
Are you?
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
How long did that last? Is that a record?
No.
No.
I think my quickest here is maybe like 5 days. I don't even know what's happening. I'm just just gonna drink more alcohol and just sit on the couch. We'll do that for a little bit.
Maybe you should do a 360 and try being completely sober. Maybe that would help.
But then I would have to be sober.
It sucks.
Well, yeah,
It could be good.
Everything sucks when you're sober. Not doing it.
Yeah, but if you drink enough, you don't even feel the alcohol anymore. So it's almost like you're sober, probably.
Well, I mean, I guess I could just start boofing it. Vodka tampons, anybody?
Nope.
Okay, so that's the news. Another one. How many is that this year?
Oh, I don't know.
10?
I don't even keep track anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just scratches
It's
on the door.
It's not worth it.
It's not
I'm
worth
going
it.
to try to hook him up with a friend of my wife's friend.
Yeah.
We decided instead of trying to get a meeting set up with all, like me, my wife, her friend's friend, and Michael, we're going to just get her friend's phone number, give it to Michael, and let them message and work it out.
Good luck.
And there's actually a girl that I've talked to for a really long time, but she's on the other side of the Russian border. So I can't go see her.
Pretty soon you might be able to.
Might be able to pretty soon. They say that every fucking month, don't they? So nobody
Yeah, it
knows.
was December 8th, but they put it off again.
And while we're on YouTube, should we avoid cursing?
Just don't N-bomb F, like...
Yeah, don't mention any
I know
medical
the
stuff.
forbidden words.
medical
Right.
stuff.
The extra fun words.
World War II, not nice people. Those sort of things.
Yeah, maggots.
Yes. Yeah, any of those things. Okay.
People with small hats.
Small hats?
Yep.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
The small hat people from World War II.
Oh, those small hat people.
Yeah, I thought that's who you were talking about.
Speaking of World War II, Auschwitz is coming up, the 80th
I've been
year.
there.
Yeah. But did you hear? The Russians aren't invited, so the people that liberated aren't invited. Netanyahu's not allowed to go, and so the people who were there aren't
Pretty
invited.
funny.
So it's only the people that ran it and guarded it that are going.
Yeah, maybe they want to do like a reenactment.
Yeah, anyway, okay. Very strange. Very, very
When I
strange.
was there, I was struck by just how big it was.
Hmm.
And then also the swimming pool. I was like, why is there a swimming pool here?
There's also a soccer field. Because it was a work camp,
Yeah.
not an extermination camp.
My grandfather, Italian, he was actually sent to a camp in Germany.
Hmm.
He said the Germans were nicer than the nuns in Italy that he grew up with.
There you go.
Well, while they're there, maybe they could do us a favor and throw some of those German people in there. When I was in Germany, they were all Turks. Ugh.
Oh, yeah. See what happened just in Germany
it's
last couple of days?
so sad. Every Christmas, they killed more people.
Oh, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have barriers up. Which you shouldn't have to, but unfortunately these days you do. So.
Well, he said this one was Syrian.
No, Saudi.
At first they said Saudi, then they said Syrian.
No, he's
Yeah.
a Saudi. He's a Saudi.
Okay.
He's a doctor. He's apparently he gave up Islam.
He's like a NASA scientist, doctor,
Pro-
lawyer, everything all
pro-
combined.
Yeah, pro-Israel.
What
There
the
you go.
fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
And he was on a BBC news thing.
Yeah. Very strange.
Well,
And the guy that looks like you, did you see him doing the perp walk? Why did they do that? Did you see that?
The one in America.
kind of-
that-
Yeah.
it's like-
I mean, if you cut off like from here up, he looks like me, but
Yeah, yeah,
his
yeah.
eyebrows.
Okay.
Not like mine. But
Yeah,
I saw a photo of him, and I actually like, what? Who got this photo of me? And then I was, oh no, I scrolled a little. And that's
Yeah. They landed him in a helicopter, and they had like police around him, and they walked him slowly towards things. Like, did they
didn't
want
see
someone
that.
to
Oh,
shoot him or something?
it's just a show of force.
It's like, really? Come on.
I mean, he said it costed him $100,000 to do that little fucking walk that they did.
And I don't get how you can really convict someone based on seeing this much of their face. And
Well,
have you
they're-
seen the comparisons of the eyebrows?
Yeah, they look different.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah, even the backpack's different. They
But
found.
they're trying to say that he got caught with all that stuff, and then he also posted all that shit on the internet, and it seems like he got caught on purpose.
Something's fishy.
Well, or maybe he just knew that he wouldn't be able to run afterwards, and
I don't buy that.
well, because he's not gonna be able to get the death penalty if he pleads out of it.
I doubt someone would do that and purposely get arrested.
Well, what if it's
They're saying also he had help now.
Probably had help from a 3-letter agency.
Most likely. Well, highly likely, as the English
But what if
would
he
say.
got arrested on purpose because he's getting help, and then they're just gonna, switch him out with somebody
They
or
put a lookalike.
right?
It's like when people think that people like Epstein were murdered or John
No,
McAfee.
he's definitely living somewhere
Switch
else.
him out with
McAfee,
somebody
though,
or lookalike.
they
Right.
wanted him fucking dead.
Yeah, but I still wonder, like, maybe he found someone to look like him and take the place.
Have you ever read about McAfee's life?
Yeah.
That dude's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
Is he still alive?
He says that drugs, sex, and alcohol works. He loves drugs, sex, and alcohol. It works for him, but he doesn't promote it. He said it some slick way, though. I forget how.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I would never recommend drugs, sex, and alcohol, but it works for me.
Yeah.
well, the guy was like a fucking pirate. Like, he would have all those pictures where he's on a boat and he's just, like, doing cocaine with hookers.
He got
and-
pretty fat towards the end. He had this big old gut. He's, like, guzzling his whiskey and vodka and stuff.
Well, I mean, all he was doing was just getting fucked up and fucking hookers. I mean, it was what he wanted. That's why he sold his company and just went and did whatever he wanted to.
Yeah.
So
McAfee antivirus, and he wrote the viruses as well.
Sure.
well, he was definitely making money off of that because he made way more than just selling the company.
I love having a Mac. It's like a stress relieving device because a Windows computer, you get problems nonstop. You get viruses. They don't last for. You get a Mac, no issues ever. You keep it for 10 years and you never have one issue.
But-
I've never
but
had
now
issues with mine
everybody
either.
is-
Great.
No, my Windows machine.
Just everyone I know that gets Windows computers, they have all sorts of issues. But maybe they're
Yeah.
just stupid and they mess up their computers.
I think it's
Yeah.
option 2. I
Yeah.
think they're stupid.
Generally.
Especially now, everybody uses iPhones and shit, so they're trying harder and harder to break into iPhones. So
I'm not a big fan of iPhones, but I can't use a Windows laptop.
uh,
Windows
see,
PC, desktop, not bad, but a Windows laptop, they all suck.
I just I don't know. I really hate Apple products. It's
I
like
hate the touchpads on the Windows laptops. You try using a Windows laptop touchpad and you want to off yourself.
no, it's just the way with how the operating software works, and like you can barely play any games on them and stuff, and it's like the way that the menus are set up. It's like, especially on an iPhone, if you look for something where it makes sense, it's not fucking there. It's somewhere else. Yeah, I hate how they do that. It's like I don't know. It's like when you watch The Big Bang. Like it's a smart TV show for stupid people. Like that's how I feel about iPhones, because I have $100 fucking Samsung and I can download stuff on there in like 30 seconds. I can just Google it and download an app from the internet. I don't need to jailbreak it and do all this weird shit to it. And
I had $100, well, actually $70 phone I bought here. But then my mom gave me her iPhone, so I took it.
well, I mean, that's fair.
And
I
it has a
mean,
way better touchscreen.
free is free, but I mean, with a $100 phone, I can download a whole bunch of goofy stuff on here and do whatever I want. I mean, like I have a Tor browser on there. You know how you get that on an iPhone? You have to jailbreak it first, and then
I remember the old days of jailbreaking iPods.
yeah, you could always get all the apps that were unlocked
And
with
then
all the paid
most
stuff.
Most of their updates were just copying what people did when they jailbroke it.
Yeah,
in
pretty
the early
much.
days. I'm just curious. So, what's the screen look like on YouTube right now? Do you see all of us? Is it squares of each of us? Is it one video or?
It's if you look up there, hang on,
I'm looking up there.
It's all 4 of us
There.
in a square.
4.
Okay.
So everybody, we're in our new studio. I'll just give you a quick look. Oops, there you go. From that camera there, this one here. So you can see the 4 of us on the back of Michael's head. So,
And then there's Steve.
He's
Steve.
invisible. He ate some of the white monoatomic gold, and he's levitating and invisible right now.
Yeah. As soon as he gets off that, he'll be back into a solid form.
You heard about that monoatomic white gold?
No, what's that?
Maybe it's real, but it's the certain people that believe in all the alien stuff, and I'm not saying I don't believe in aliens, but they believe in this monoatomic white gold, which apparently cures you of all your illnesses, makes you be able to levitate, and I forget if it makes you invisible. And they do this nonsense where they're like, oh, well, people have been talking about it for thousands of years. It's even mentioned in the Bible. No, it's not mentioned in the Bible. Manna is mentioned in the Bible, but they try to say, well, monoatomic gold was manna, and therefore it was mentioned in the Bible. It's like, well, you can't just put this invisible connection between two things. And I don't know, people buy this monoatomic white gold on eBay, and they think it's going to, like, cure them of all their illnesses, and when it doesn't, it's like, oh, well, maybe it went bad in the shipping, maybe it got too warm or something.
Dude, people get weird with Bible stuff.
You think?
Well, I remember I went to this non-denominational Christian church in my small town of less than 20,000 people in Iowa. And my friend took me there. And, you know, I'm Catholic. So I was like, okay, I'll go to church. I've never been to a non-denominational church. It turns out non-denominational is just a fancy way to say cult. You go into there, and the priests start speaking in tongues. They've got a Christian rock band up there.
In tongues, was it Latin or what?
No, just like the classic, like, you know, like that bullshit.
Starts screaming like he's exorcising a demon.
Yeah, because he's just like, and God said, I'm just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
You should just act like you're possessed.
Well, so this story gets much, much better. He starts talking about how the Bible specifically mentions this town in Iowa in it, and there's a protective dome that is written about in the Bible, and so everybody that lives here will forever prosper, and you'll always be safe. And then he asks, who's new at church today? And my friends are like, he's new, and they force me to raise my hand. I'm like, oh, fuck, and I'm like trying to pull my hand down, and then he starts asking me, he's like, I want to talk to you after church, young man. Thank you for joining us today. And I'm like, oh no, my friends are gonna make me talk to him, and they bring me down to the basement with everybody's down there after the church. You know how they always do like bagels and shit at churches. Well, no, these people would stand around and talk about this whatever cult stuff they were doing, and this guy starts praying in tongues over my leg that I had surgery on, and
it healed.
Oh yeah,
it's
magically healed, and he wants me to run around and do jumping jacks and you know, do squats, and he's like, how's it feel? And I'm like, it's the same. He's like, run around some more, and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna fix anything.
Hey Michael, on the topic of your leg, would you mind doing a small advertisement for my services, and then I give people my Instagram?
Well, we're gonna try and fix my leg.
Well, no, about what we already did, 'cause it's better already. Not perfect, but
well, we ended up finding out that well, what do you think it's from? Being injured and sitting around, or being from the food in America, or well, my hormone levels were not where they were supposed to be, so we went ahead and did a TRT treatment, and we ended up getting me back to a regular level, and then ended up stopping it. And
a very advanced form of TRT, not just standard. You go to your doctor, get one injection a week. Much more complicated and better.
Yeah, like we were doing like blood tests and all sorts of stuff, and well, we ended up now I'm not on it anymore, and
testosterone's higher than when you started.
Exactly. So now we went ahead and we fixed everything. So it turns out if you have somebody that actually knows what they're doing, it's a lot better than going to like a primary care doctor and just having them BS you.
Suicidal, you go to a primary care doctor.
Well, I mean, I would say a psychologist, but
I'm just joking, because you usually get more messed up than healed at a doctor. But yeah, if anyone's interested, my Instagram is Andre Hutch, AndreyHutch. Hire me there for any non-medical service, because I don't have a medical license. Only medical information. I can say what I would do. I could say what I would do if I were you, but I cannot advise you to do any of it. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah. But But yeah, so to finish up the rest of that church story, basically just had to tell the guy, yeah, you're right, it's great, and then I, of course, just never went back there ever again. That was awful. But when it comes to non-denominational churches, when I was trying to learn Russian while I was living in Florida before I came here, I heard somebody at the store speaking Russian. I asked her, do you know anybody that can teach me? And she gave me this teacher's name, and then the teacher was like, you can meet me at church. And then it turns out it was like another non-denominational church of just Russian speakers, and yeah, that was a cult too. I went to one of the meetings to go meet her for the first time, and they were talking about how anime is the devil and makes you want to kill yourself.
Well, I mean, if I observe all the Asian students at my previous university in California, they'd always be talking about how they didn't sleep the previous night because they were up watching anime all night. And then the thing is, because they don't sleep, their immune system is in the toilet. Then they get sick. And they're all coughing and this disgusting crap is coming out of their mouth. And I'm like, ugh. It's only a matter of time before I get sick. And it was, because, you know, you're around a ton of sick people every single day and they're all coughing on you. Eventually you get sick. So maybe anime is the devil.
Well, normally I just, when I was at university, I would just stay up all night drinking. And then I would go to class.
Well, I would typically drink, pass out, wake up, not just stay up.
Well,
You never went to sleep? I know, I'm just joking.
No. I mean, like, obviously I went to sleep, but, I mean, I'm going to drink the next day, too.
I actually changed my sleep schedule to match my wife's in Belarus when I was at university in California. So I would just make sure I passed out at the right time, and I set my alarm to wake up 1 minute before her, and I messaged her every morning, good morning.
See, I was doing that too,
nice.
because I was talking to a girl for like 6 months before I came here. Yeah, and then I met her, and it turned out she had like one glass of wine, and then she starts talking about, like, in the middle of this fancy restaurant. This is like the first day that I met her, how she likes to watch all of this lesbian porn and stuff, and I'm just sitting there like trying to eat my dinner, and I'm just like, what are you talking about, bitch? Like,
Well, maybe she has some friends and you can all enjoy each other.
no. I don't even think she likes dudes. I think she just liked having somebody talk to her on the internet in English.
I can proudly say that I think I've only watched porn one time. Must have been like 14 years old, and I was like, what the... Why do I want to watch a guy having sex with a girl?
Oh, well, that's an easy answer, because women are awful, and I hate them. So if I watch them in a video, then they don't have to be at my house.
I prefer to be the one going inside of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously.
In person, not online.
But, I mean, like 99% of them, they just piss me off.
You gotta find that 1%.
Yeah. Well, that's 1%, so good luck with that.
Yes, good luck with that. Okay, I'm just going to go. Okay. Give me 4 minutes. I just want to go through this. So this is our live 100th show. Thanks for coming in, you two.
Thanks for having us.
There's some people going to come in virtually, and bodily Steve will be here soon. And so let's go through this. Over the course of our 99 live shows, we've embarked on an incredible journey exploring the stories, the events shaping our world. It all began in November 2023 with myself, Duke, who's too busy to come to the shows anymore, and Steve, who you can't see at the moment, as we broadcast our first episodes, diving into key global conflicts like the Russia-Ukraine war and ongoing tragedy in Gaza. From the very beginning, our mission has been to go beyond the headlines, dissecting the complexities of geopolitics, uncovering hidden truths, and offering insights that challenge the mainstream narrative. As the show grew, so did our range of topics and our diversity of guests. We've had the privilege of welcoming thought leaders and activists like John O'Looney, Alex White, Rolf Stark, David Clues, and more, who have shared their expertise on critical issues such as the rise of excess deaths, the impact of censorship, the challenges of multipolar world. With every episode, we've aimed to deliver thought-provoking content covering everything from the NATO strategies to the Middle East tensions to the illusion of political change and the decline of Western powers. One of our hallmarks of our live shows has been willingness to tackle tough topics Whether we are exposing the underpinnings of deep state power structures, analysing surveillance capitalism, or diving into the mysteries of UAPs and underground civilizations, we've remained committed to exploring the issues that matter most. Along the way, we've kept a sharp focus on current events, highlighting key developments in Belarus, the Middle East, and beyond. The channel didn't shy away from conspiracy and speculation, as seen in our titles like Covert Mind Operations and Backdoor Deals, exploring the unseen forces behind global decisions. As tensions escalated around the world, the show's themes grew more dire, with episodes like Prepare for Nukes and Seconds to Midnight addressing the potential for nuclear conflict and brinkmanship of global powers. The series also tackled societal decay and moral implications of conflicts, with titles like End Times and Death Wish, The World Inches Closer. The latter shows continue this trend, focusing on the possibility of World War III, with episodes like World War III Alert and Quite the Ending, World War III Starting, reflecting real-time developments in global politics. Through it all, we've showcased life in Belarus, offering a unique perspective that challenges stereotypes and misconceptions, from highlighting Belarusian resilience in the face of Western pressures to sharing cultural and historical insights in our popular segment You Don't See That in Belarus, which has become a viewer favourite. It's been a privilege to show what this country stands out on the global stage, from its independence to its defiance of external influences. Our journey hasn't been without challenges. We've upgraded studios, as you can see here, moved locations, and expanded our capabilities to bring you a better viewing experience. Despite these hurdles, we've stayed true to our mission of delivering content that is both informative and engaging. Every episode has been a step forward in our commitment to providing a platform for meaningful discussions and untold stories. As we celebrate our 100th live show today, we want to take this moment to thank our viewers. Your support, feedback, and participation have made this journey possible, from tuning in every week to sharing our content and joining the conversation. You've been an integral part of this project. Here's to the first 100 episodes and many more as we continue to explore and question and bring you the stories that matter. That's it.
And I gotta say, very nice images you have for the videos.
Here.
I don't know what they're called, the preview image or...
Oh, the thumbnails.
Thumbnail.
The thumbnails, yes, yes.
Well, and those are what, AI generated, or you're finding them, or?
No, AI generated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we do individual one for each show, as you can see in the background here, as they run along.
I mean, you see some of those images 10 years ago, you'd be like, wow, that was hard to make, and now it's so easy.
Yes. Yeah, 5 minutes. Well, less than 5 minutes, and off it goes. So there you go. That's 98 and 99. We're back. That was last on Wednesdays.
And 100 now.
And 100 now. And Merry Christmas. Here we go.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, to everybody.
Gave my wife her Christmas present today, since we're only together on the weekends currently. Got her a white cashmere scarf. Wasn't super expensive, but we don't care about the cost. Just like,
It's a thought that counts.
yeah, she got me last New Year's, she got me a beer mug. Sadly, I dropped it and broke it like 6 months later. But I
Well,
still have my coffee mug she gave me like 6 years ago.
every good Christian knows that Christmas is really about the presents.
My wife got me it 2 years ago, so my wife knows me. She's good. You know, she got me the beer mug. She got me a flask 2 years ago.
Well, that sounds badass. Metal?
Yeah, but
Damn.
it's accidentally really big. It's like a half-liter flask or 700. No, it's like 700 milliliters. So it's like I'm not gonna put it in my pocket. Thanks. It's very. But you know, I guess I'll toss it in my backpack. But
I gotta get a plastic one, maybe one that'll fit in my boot or
for
something.
metal detectors.
Yeah, for the hockey games.
Or what you can do is just get an IV bag and fill it up with alcohol and just connect an IV thing to it, and you can suck it out of it.
All right, and it's. I think I'd rather just go with the vodka tampon at that point. It's
I mean, you could also just tear open the IV bag and drink it.
well, but they're gonna let me bring in an IV bag
Well, you said like you want something soft and non-metal.
into the hockey game.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
IV bags, they don't set off a metal detector.
No.
Camel. Oh, but when they frisk you, they'll feel it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how frisky the guy gets. I mean,
They
sometimes
seem to be getting less frisky for us as we come in.
well, yeah, because they notice that we come in there every time. We always go through the same door, and they know that
Maybe you need like a fake stomach. Make like a fake fat stomach, and you can just put everything you want in there.
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, I've only had him do the like.
Or we can get a corporate box. Then you can just drink in there.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's next season.
We should probably just do that
Next season.
Well,
are you coming on the 25th?
Let me know. I had planned on it, but I got a lot of stupid stuff I got to do, so I gotta figure that out.
Just let me know, because otherwise I'll have to give the ticket
I'll
to
let you know
someone else.
tomorrow.
And it's no use asking. You're coming anyway.
well, I mean,
And if you got a lady this time, you're still coming.
Yeah.
You missed out last time for no
right.
reason. Yeah.
And also,
Well-
just something I think, now, maybe I'm wrong, but it always annoys me a little bit when there's, like, I'll make an example. I had a, like, wedding-type party for me and my wife in California. One of my relatives brought some girl. I'm like, why the hell did you bring this girl? He's like, oh, she's my girlfriend. It's like, no, she's not. She's some girl you've known for 1 month. Like, I don't want her at our family party. Like, we don't know her. Like, you don't want some random girl. And so, she's my serious girl. It's like, they broke up, of course, like 2 months later.
Yeah.
So I advise guys, don't bring your new girl to any sort of events. Don't plan on her. Be with friends. Leave her out of things. Just
For a while.
yeah.
well, that's 2 months later than they usually hang out with me. So
Yeah.
Well, that's good at least.
That's probably good advice for you.
well, yeah. No, I'm just not bringing them nowhere. Just not bringing them nowhere.
Yeah. Don't miss
KFC.
any ice hockey games from this time.
No.
KFC does sound like a good place to bring some of these women, to be honest.
I realized that a long time ago. Like, anytime I had plans to meet a girl, I just assumed we're not going to meet. Just make other plans, and the off chance that she meets, then I'll meet her.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. on that note,
Well, I mean, he's right.
I don't know. I've been.
That's actually a little. That's assuming you're using like Tinder, and most of them aren't even going to meet up though.
Right. Well, I mean, most of them, I think they're just on there because, I don't know, they just want to talk to somebody.
In California, though, I messed up. I was like a few times I had dates with girls, and I was like an hour late. They were leaving, or like they already left. Or one time I ran into the girl as she was leaving.
And then you were just like, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm like, oh hey, I'm here now. Come on, and she's like, oh, I gotta go.
Too
damn.
late. Lost your chance.
Well, I mean, the big thing that I ran into, I mean, like I tried talking to this one girl, I don't know, like 7 or 8 months ago or something, and talked to her for like 2 months, right? And I was like, so when am I going to meet you?
Is that
Like-
the V girl? V?
No. And so I ended up asking her, like seriously, like I keep on asking if you want to do something, like you're busy, you know, what is this? What are you doing? And then well, this girl, she was like 22 or 23 or something, and she had already like asked me, like, or she had brought up our age difference because I'm 29, and then she was like, well, it's not really that big of a deal. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Because here, I think a lot of the girls date older men. And, well, I didn't realize exactly how much older they date because, turns out she wasn't meeting me because, every once in a while she was still going over to this, like, 38-year-old dude's house and fucking him or whatever. And
I
then
would say that that's not the norm here. The norm is there's actually a lot of people that are the same age as their wife or husband, and then typically like 4 years, I would say, is the normal difference.
Well, I notice a lot of younger girls with older guys.
Well, yeah, they like the money.
Right. Well, and so then I ended up like asking her about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I've been seeing him for like 2 years or something." So then she said something about how I don't think he knows what he wants yet. And I was like, "You're fucking a dude that's almost 40 and he doesn't know what he wants yet. So you're gonna talk to me for 2 months and avoid meeting me?" Oh boy. I was just like, I just deleted everything after that. I didn't want to deal with that. It's oh. She was not happy. She was very angry with me. She said that I was rude. I was like, well,
You rude?
well, I mean, first of
I'm
all,
shocked.
I'm pretty rude, yes, but I was being nice to her, and I think it's pretty rude to, I don't know, talk to somebody for 2 months while you're getting dicked down by a 40-year-old dude. But
Yeah.
whatever.
That's like, I know a girl in California. She's her ex-boyfriend is still paying for her rent, and she's got like a couple other guys, but she's only interested in my friend. And he's like, but your ex-boyfriend's still paying for your rent. How could I possibly be with you?
Right.
But he's not interested in her because she's not suitable material.
Well, so he's just,
Yeah, having fun.
right. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's...
But it goes to show how there's the guys that they use for resources, and there's the guys that they actually like.
Right.
Ideally, you're that same person.
Right. Well, and, I don't know. It's like, because I've been on both sides of it, but it's like, yeah, when it's not both, it's just, it doesn't feel right. It's weird. You're just like, what is this bitch doing, And, I don't know. It's funny that you mentioned that story, because I knew another girl here where, I was dating one girl when I first moved here, and her friend had her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, who thought that she was single, give her a bunch of money. I think it was like $2,000 or $3,000 to fix her car. And the mechanic that fixed her car was her current boyfriend. So she had her ex-boyfriend pay money to her.
Astounding, complicated.
Right. So basically she was just playing them all off of each other. And I mean, the thing is like, I don't know. She's a really hot girl. I mean, it's like a classic like Tits McGee kind of situation, It's like she's like 4'11" and probably half her weight is titties. So, I mean, that's pretty easy equation to getting whatever the fuck you want, I guess.
Sorry, I'm just setting up Zoom.
It's crazy how some relationships are, and some girls and guys. Like, I know a guy here. Yeah, he's good-looking guy, normal guy, like, good guy. 6 foot, 200 pounds. No, actually, it's like 190. Professional sports player. He's got another job. And his girl forbade him. Well, no. He's allowed to hang out with friends without her, but he has to get her a present. Each time he goes somewhere, like...
What?
It can't be everywhere he goes without her, because he has to go to his sports practice without her. So he doesn't pay her when he... give her a present when he goes to his sports practice. But if he wants to, like, go out with friends drinking, he's got to give her a present. And it's like, what? So obviously it's his fault for, like, putting up with that. He should just throw her out the door, or out the window for that matter. But, yeah, it's crazy what happens in the world.
How do you even have enough room for all those gifts?
I don't know. Maybe it's chocolate bars. I don't know.
But all they said was present?
I heard it from a mutual friend, because he hasn't hung out for over a year. And I was wondering, like, why isn't he hanging out? Like, what's going on? Like,
probably because it fucking costs too much?
Yeah, he's got to give her a present every time he hangs out.
Dude, that's fucking awful.
But it's like, he's a professional sports player, good-looking guy, normal guy, and he's putting up with this crap.
Oh, but that's why tell everybody about that cheap jewelry we got going on.
Oh, well, if the viewers probably aren't in Belarus, but if anyone wants some cheap jewelry, I have access to a lot of cheap jewelry.
Are you fencing jewelry now?
Yeah, I don't want to make... I was tempted to make a certain joke on... but, better not to make certain jokes about, like, robbing jewelry stores. A friend of mine tried to open a jewelry store, bought 7,000 pieces of jewelry, and realized it's not so easy to run a jewelry store. So, if anyone wants jewelry, he would like to get rid of it. I don't wear jewelry. I wear a ring, but that's all.
I came up with the idea that, I mean, like, if you want to buy, like, a necklace, like, it's just gold-plated or whatever. So they're selling for what, like $3, $5 each?
I
So-
mean, if you buy it as a consumer or wholesale?
I mean, wholesale, because my idea
Wholesale,
is
they're like $1.
right. Well,
Or less.
but I'll
The
buy them.
boxes actually cost more than the jewelry.
I'll buy them wholesale from him. So I guess I'm like a very bulky customer, I guess.
We'll see. The boxes are actually the expensive part.
Well, my idea was, you give each girl a $3 necklace.
Yeah.
just get a
But
whole
hey,
fucking
it would cost like 50 rubles in a store here.
right.
Well,
Well,
and they've still got the price tags on them, like 70 rubles.
Yeah, you could have just a drawer of them, and just every time there's a girl coming, you get.
right.
And I was joking. What you do, Michael, is you get 2 of them, and you go, I couldn't decide which one you would like more.
So I got you both.
Ah.
Oh yeah.
And she goes, and she's. I guess it's impolite to leave the price tag, but they do have price tags on them. So, 100 rubles, 70 rubles. Wow, thank you.
See, we're making big progress here. I'm gonna be like the Lex Luthor of dating women in Minsk.
Yes.
I'm already the Michael Jordan of drunk driving, so
You're already the Helen Keller of having sex.
the Anne Frank of staying in my house. I don't have an attic, but I guess
Or a basement.
right, no basement either. Well,
I saw some funny thing where it's like someone was giving advice on what to do if you're in the Netherlands, and they're like, "Don't go to Anne Frank's house."
that's the video that I sent to you.
okay.
I read something about Anne Frank's house the other day. It's all BS.
Well, yeah, it was written by a guy in America.
Yeah.
It's like people believe the movie Schindler's List. That movie's also BS.
Well, it's like people that think that what's it called? Inglorious Bastards.
Oh yeah, that must
Yeah,
be a real.
When people
event.
thought that one was real.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Well, I mean, they had the whole like Jewish hit squad trying
I
to
didn't know
murder
anyone that
Hitler.
thought that was real, but I know a lot of people that thought Schindler's List was real.
Huh. Well, it's maybe I need to go back and rewatch Schindler's List.
I never watched it.
It's one of the
me.
highest rated movies of all time.
Is it based on a story when then they just change it completely?
Something like that. I don't.
They all say it's based on a story, but it's not even close to the.
Oh yeah, it's some like 1% based on a true story.
Yeah, there's someone in there that was actually had that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on a true story means that well, because you can change the names too.
You know what's amazing about history? It's like, people don't catch on. It's like, watch the news and think about what nonsense and bullshit it is. Now think about what bullshit history is. I'll give a good example. My grandfather grew up in Italy in an orphanage.
Keep going.
Oop.
I've got to take this.
He grew up in Monte Cassino. It's a fortress.
Hello. Hello.
Officially,
Hello.
the Germans were never there. If you read official history, Americans or British bombed it, but there were no Germans there. The Germans were never there. He lived there. He said the Germans took over the whole place. History is nonsense, what you get taught.
Well, I mean, it's like Hitler killed himself, and
Oh, I'm sure he did. He
He's
was
definitely
he
not
was so
in
ambitious
Argentina.
that he wanted to take over the whole Europe, but then he just gave up and offed himself.
well, and you know what everybody keeps on talking about too is if the West won World War II, then why does it seem like we lost? Like when you look at everything right now, you see all of these migrants flooding everywhere. The whole entire West is just absolutely collapsing.
Though.
But who are the only people that actually won World War II?
Oh yeah, there are certain people that really benefited from World War II.
There's a certain 6 million people that really benefited.
But there's so many different angles you can view things from. Like, one angle is the Nazis never actually went away. They just took a different form. For example, they went to South America and they headed all the major pharmaceutical companies. They were in charge of a lot of financial institutions, pharmaceutical companies. So on one hand, you could say that, there's a Fourth Reich, so to speak, and it's the pharmaceutical and, financial complex. But then, of course, like you said, those small hat people, they benefited a lot from World War II.
Well, and if you look at the way that they operate currently in Israel, there's a lot of parallels there. With
Oh yeah, it's funny because they're like, oh, we're the victims of Nazis, but then they act kind of like Nazis.
Right. Well, and then the West is just being flooded with all of these ideas that are being pumped out by all these media companies that are owned by said people. I'm pretty sure YouTube is owned by said people.
Who knows?
That's why it's a little difficult to talk about this stuff when he's putting us fucking live on YouTube. I hate it when he puts us live on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm always very careful about what I say.
Well, Rumble, you can say whatever you want.
Well, I still can't say whatever I want because I'm gonna have a professional career.
Oh. Well, I'm professionally retarded, so I can do whatever I want. What's up, Steve?
Nice to meet you.
Andrew, Steve, Andrew.
Steve, good to meet you. Another expat?
Yep. No, I'm just Belarusian with an amazing English accent.
I've met a few.
I had a moron, can't say the word I wanted to say on YouTube, the R word. I had a moron here, actually. Like, I was with a friend, and it was a friend of a friend.
You can say the R word. You can say retarded on YouTube.
No.
Really?
Don't say that.
You're not allowed to say that
I just called myself retarded.
Yeah, well, that's... do you want to Oh, what do you have to drink?
I don't know. Where did I go for that?
Do you want to drink?
You didn't bring anything?
I didn't bring anything. I didn't plan on staying for long.
Oh,
No,
well...
that's good. I don't want to partake of stuff that I didn't bring. So.
I have absinthe and I have
I
scotch.
got some homemade stuff.
Would you bring, like, Belarusian homemade liquor?
I forget what it's from, but yeah, it's from...
It's probably
I don't know, some
raspberries.
sort of berries or fruit or something.
It's not Ballantines?
It's not.
But
But yeah,
no,
I was.
I have this.
But what I was just saying, I was with a friend, and his friend joined us, and we're all talking, and randomly my friend goes, "Oh yeah, he's from California," and the other guy goes, "What? I thought he was just from a different village." It's like, you actually thought I'm Belarusian, and this is when my Russian was horrible. Yeah, I thought I was actually Belarusian, and I just had a really thick accent. His IQ's probably in the single digits.
Well, you kind of look like you could pass for one of them. You got the whole hairy...
But go back a few years ago
hair.
when my Russian was... Well, actually, no, the young guys, they don't have any body hair.
Some of them, yeah. Some of them are kind of almost sort of
Girly?
type looking type of
Girly
thing going
men?
on. Yeah, sort of. But then you see like extremes.
Even
I say America is a country of extremes, but sometimes you see like the really girly type of dudes here, but then you see these really like jacked, like ultra hairy, like Slavic bodybuilder types.
But I think they're usually like 30 plus years old.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're older usually.
You see like a 20-year-old here, he's got no chest hair or nothing.
After they get fucked over a few times, they start manning up in their 20s.
Well, I mean, if you see a picture of me when I was 20,
It
I
can
mean,
take
like,
some time, yeah.
I was 160 pounds.
Sure,
Okay, so I'll get it.
That's
I'll get it.
Did you have chest hair and everything?
Do you guys got some?
Not really.
What do you got here, Deca?
No, that's
You got
ivermectin.
Seriously?
But if you need any expert medical information without advice, I'm the guy to go to if you want help.
You're the doctor guy.
Well,
they were telling me
no
about.
medical license, but
Okay.
better than a medical license. I got a license of awesomeness and intelligence.
That's fine with me. I don't really trust the medical community and stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm an injured former federal agent, so I got, I kind of got screwed up by a prescription drug that a doctor gave me and told me was safe. Ended up destroying my
Start with an
career and my body too. What?
Start with an O?
No. You can't say it on.
I don't know what.
No, it doesn't start with an O. It starts with the brand name starts with a P, and the actual drug name starts with an F. But
Oh, okay.
You're allowed to say drug names on here, aren't you?
I don't know what's okay or not on YouTube.
Let me put this on.
And I don't.
You don't have to. If you,
I know I can just talk freestyle. I mean, see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also
Why
didn't
not?
know how much
Just
personal
move that.
information you
Just
wanted
move that
to.
towards you a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty personal. But
Just move that towards you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better.
So how's your Russian? You picked up the language? You're fluent in it, or?
I mean, it depends on who you ask. I ran into a Canadian dude when I was out with my girlfriend. We were out at we were at Dynamo, I think, it was probably like a month ago. And we were talking, we were doing some Christmas shop, or not Christmas shop, actually birthday, because my son's birthday is the end of November. So we were buying him a gift for his birthday. in a toy store, and this Canadian guy overheard us speaking English, and he comes up and he's like, immediately, he's like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "New York." And he's like, "Oh, I'm like, where are you from?" Because obviously he's speaking with a perfect like North American accent. And I was like, "It's Canada," but he was like an Asian Canadian dude, so he's probably like Vietnamese or something originally, or his parents were. So anyway, I was like, we were talking, and he's like, so he asked me how my Russian was, and I was like, it depends on who you ask. I mean, she says it's pretty bad, but I mean, I can get by on my own. I can survive. And I'm like, how's yours? And he's like, I don't speak a word. I don't speak a word. I'm like, how long you been here? He's like, 5 years. I'm like, what? 5 years, and you can't, what do you speak, like hello and stuff? That's it, really?
I'm not trying to step on anyone, but when someone lives in a foreign country and doesn't know the language, I always think, what's going on with that?
You gotta make some
looking at me?
attempt. Although, the older you get, the harder it is to learn, though.
It's not bad. No, I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, it is. It's you got other things going on. Cost versus.
No. The wife speaks perfect English. Her sister does. I do all my business overseas in English.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you guys in English.
That's why my Russian's not that good, because I speak with my wife in English. I go to university in English.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
But it like when I'm dealing with the locals and stuff, it really would be helpful if I really spoke a lot more. When I'm like selling them watches.
I think you just got to take it
stuff.
slow but steady, because a lot of people, they try like going real hard with their studying, and then they get overwhelmed and then they give up. Just learn it a little bit at a time for 5 or 10 years.
Oh yeah.
I can understand a lot. Like when the wife's at dinner and she's talking to all her friends, I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's how I have gotten a lot better.
I get the gist of it. What's going on?
I actually kind of liked
Context
when I didn't know Russian and my wife would be with her friends and I could just tune it out.
Yeah,
if
that's
you don't
what
understand, you just can tune it out.
Well, that's right. I have a nice quiet night. Everybody's like, yeah,
So,
exactly. I'm going to ask you guys some questions if you don't mind. Okay, should we start here or that way? We'll start with you. What initially drew you to choose Minsk, Belarus, as your new home?
right. So I think I talked about with this before. Probably like the first time I came on, which is like more than a year ago now. So after I got injured, which was like 11 years ago now, 12 years ago, when I was working as an agent, I was a Homeland Security special agent. I worked immigration and customs down on the Mexican border in Texas for about 4.5 years, and basically after I'd been on the job for like 3 years, I got injured, and that's a whole other thing to go into detail. But basically, the government screwed me out of my job, demoted me to a desk job, less than half pay, and then I started some complaining and filing things, and also mouthing off a bit about what they did to me, and basically they retaliated on me, which goes into a whole nother long story. But skipping over that part, basically I made the decision I wanted to get out of the country. I was just tired of the way people were there. And it didn't just apply to what happened with me in the government or my experiences getting injured and everything. Just growing up there and seeing a long pattern of just degenerate behaviors and just people screwing each other over in pretty much every job I'd worked in since I was like 15, and just seeing just people treating each other like shit, and just like, why should you work for a place and sacrifice not only your body, or even if you're not doing a job like I was, but like your mind, your time, your life, to power the economy of this place. Even if you're not serving in the military or if you're not working in law enforcement, you are still dumping anywhere from like 25 up to 55% of your earned labor time back into the system via taxes, let alone every time you purchase something, you're paying a tax on that, and property tax, anything. Pretty much you're fueling a system that hates you. Yep. And I'm just going to say it out like what I want to say. I'm going to say it as a white man.
I thought that's what you're going to say.
Yeah, as a white man, you're fueling a system that despises you for what you are, even though your ancestors built the place. Because I'm a fifth generation American. Most of my ancestors came there between 1840 all the way up to 1915. And the Italians were like the last to come, and then like Irish and Swedes were a little bit before that. But like, what the fuck, they built the friggin' place, and now they're just bringing everybody else in wholesale and saying that we're bad, Okay. My ancestors weren't even really there when slavery was a thing, okay? Because first of all, the ones that did come in the 1840s, they moved to New York, so slavery wasn't really a thing there anyway.
Every country had slavery.
Yeah.
Well, technically, I would say what the United States is doing right now is kind of a form of slavery. When you got people who are like making like $12 an hour, living in a big city like, I don't know, like Baltimore or like Philadelphia or something, you can barely afford to pay your rent. I'd be like, you're working just to barely survive in like what, a little 1-bedroom like hole in the wall, and then your rent, your food, your car insurance. You're literally working just to exist. It's like it's slavery, almost even worse than slavery, because you're probably working more than the slaves did in some ways. Although you might not be doing as hard a physical labor, your time and your life is being drained away for a place that despises you.
So what drew you here?
Oh, yes. Back to the original question. Got
Yes.
totally sidetracked. But that's fine. That's what we're here for,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's totally tuned out. He's on his phone. He's like,
Yeah, I know what that's like. I had 2 professors at my previous university in California fail me for being white.
really?
One of them,
That's extreme.
class was 50 minutes long. He would spend on average 30 of those 50 minutes telling us about how there's nothing worse in the world than teenage white boys. And I was 19 at the time. I was a teenage white boy. All the other students were like Asian or South American. Actually, I looked back at the roster a few years ago. There was one Russian girl in the class, actually. But me and her were the only white people in the class, and he despised me.
That would have been a class you probably should have dropped in the first week.
I was really sick at the
Translating.
time. So,
you were
it's
just going
funny,
with the flow.
I even told him, like, sorry if I seem stupid.
Yeah.
Because I'm just really sick. And then I had a major car accident. And get this. So I had a major car accident. I cracked every bone in my whole body. It got really messed up. It was bad. I didn't want to use a wheelchair or anything. I didn't want to call someone to drive me between classes. So I would just, manage to walk to class. And I'd be late. And I told him, I just got in a really bad car crash. It's going to take me a little longer to get to class. Is there any issue with that? He goes, no. After he failed me, I'm like, hey, why'd you fail me? Like, I don't understand. No one, because I kept asking, because this class, you didn't get any grades until the final grade, so you didn't know how you're doing. He cites that as one of the reasons. He's like, well, you were late to 15 classes. I'm like, we talked about this. I was in a major car accident.
Yeah.
I was lucky that really was pretty much never an issue when I was in university about being late. I mean, it was only like 1 or 2 classes I remember where they actually had an attendance or anything.
And then I had another professor. She was her husband was from East Timor. I'm not sure where she was from. It was a global security class. So I thought it was going to be like fighting terrorists, stopping narco smuggling. It was actually about how we need to remove all the white males from companies and governments around the world. All positions of powers need to be rid.
What years was this? What years were you?
That class was, the beginning of 2018. The other one was 2016.
So I was in university 2002 to 2006, at least for undergrad. So I noticed. So going back to my story, actually. So after I got back from Texas, I was dead set I was going to leave the country, but I wanted to. I had my bachelor's from back in 2006, but I wanted to get an extra credential because I thought it would help if I decided to go back into the workforce, which I haven't yet, really, not officially anyway. And I decided to study something more marketable, so I went back and did a master's in computer science, and I started that in 2014, 2015. Yeah, so I was doing that as I was actually doing some country hopping into Europe during the summers, and originally I was starting in Western Europe and visiting some friends there and traveling around the continent while I was there, and I noticed though at the same time I was doing my master's that things had definitely gotten more wacko in the universities. Like I remember I had an Indian operating systems professor who was teaching my operating systems class, and me and one of the other students who was in there, who was an older guy, he was older than me, he was in his early 40s at the time, I was in my early 30s, and we were working on something in the library for a project, and we were talking about how like the professor had kind of like talked insulting to one of his TAs who was helping him, who was also Indian. And just because we were talking about how, like, I was like, well, maybe it's just the culture, he seems like he might, be part of that culture from over there or whatever, because might be okay in his culture to insult the TAs or whatever. And then, like, we get back to doing the project, and probably about 2 minutes later, this ethnic Indian girl starts yelling at me and the other guy as we're sitting in the library about, you should pay attention to who's sitting around you when you start insulting and talking about these things. And I'm like, what, are you serious right now? I was like, we weren't insulting, and he was insulting one of the students, and we were defending the student. Like, who was also Indian? Like, you don't even know what you're talking about, butting into the conversation. But like, you could tell, like, that's like what was going on.
Things got really wacky after Obama was elected.
Yeah, that was definitely probably a turning point. I can see that.
Get this, so that woman, the one I told you about, like getting rid of white men from power.
Yeah.
One day she asked us, I may have said this on the show already, I'm not sure, but what would you do if the state of California was taken over by a foreign army, completely taken over, and they're coming door to door to either kill you or take you to a camp? I said I would run upstairs, grab my rifle, shoot them as they come up the stairs, and if they have my family hostage, I'll shoot them in the head. Simple. Everyone else, though, is like, well, I would run. I would hide. The whole state's taken over by a foreign army. Where are you going to run to? Or are you going to hide under the table? And I don't see anybody. You got to grab your gun and kill him. She called the police on me the next day. I get out of class, and the police come up to me, and they go, what'd you say in class the other day? And I told them, just like I told you, and they go, so you don't want to shoot up the school? I'm like, no, I don't want to shoot up the school. Like, no. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I don't want to shoot. They're like, so that's all you said? You just said you would kill people that are trying to kill your family. I'm like, yeah, like, she said if people took over the state of California, what would you do? And, like, that kid's like, I would run. That kid's like, I would run. That kid's, I would hide. I would. No, I'm not. It's like, you guys are crazy. You're going to get killed.
You should have talked to them about filing for filing a false report against you, because that's, she's totally misrepresenting what you said.
Good idea. I didn't think of that at the time, but the police were nice.
It is California, so I don't know if they would actually do anything, but...
Luckily, the police at the time were on my side, and they said, like, you really got to talk to someone about this. And I did, and I'm pretty sure she got fired.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that happened at least.
So anyway, why did you pick? Why did you pick Minsk?
But we did move a couple steps ahead. Okay. So now I'm shopping for countries. Okay.
Well, there's probably more in there that I'll ask you anyway. So just quick. Why did you pick Minsk?
I
shopping for countries.
Ended up meeting a Russian girl online, talking to a Russian girl, because I hadn't been to Eastern Europe yet, so I ended up talking to this Russian girl. Ended up going to visit her in Russia, in Ekaterinburg, when I didn't really speak any Russian at all. Way out in the middle of Russia, and I really liked it there. And it was good. Me and her didn't work out, but I liked the culture. I liked the way the people were, and obviously the women are way better looking than they are in America, in general. And I had a friend who was a professor. He was born in America, but his parents were ethnic Russians, born in Russia. So they moved into America, and I got talking to him a bit, and he recommended that I go check out Belarus. So like about 6 months after me and her broke up, and I'd come back from Russia for a while, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to St. Petersburg to study Russian. And he's talking to me at the same time. He says, I'm telling you, go check into Belarus. So I looked into Belarus a little bit. I was like, it seems a little less expensive, it's a little less corrupt, and a little less bullshit going on. So I said, all right, you know what, I'll go to Minsk and study Russian in Minsk instead. After I made the decision in like a weekend, and 3 months later I was here. And
that's it.
The rest is history.
You. Why did you pick Minsk? How did you get here?
So I met my wife. She lives in Gomel, and I had graduated my previous university, University of California, Irvine, with a degree in molecular biology and biochemistry. And we originally, this was really stupid, but you make stupid decisions in life sometimes. I was thinking we would live in California. Luckily, when COVID happened, they shut down the U.S. Embassy in Belarus. They paused it, basically. They didn't shut it down, but so she almost had a fiance visa. She just had to do like the medical checks, and then they put it on pause. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna wait for it to unpause. I'm not that kind of I'm just gonna wait. Like, maybe it will end soon. No, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna move to Belarus. What am I gonna do in Belarus? Oh well, I've always wanted to go to medical school. I thought I couldn't go because I would have to be with my wife and work to support her and California, but now that I'm going to go to Belarus, I'll go to medical school. So my parents helped me to go to medical school, and I'm going to medical school. Originally, when I looked at the list of medical schools, the English language medical program was only approved, well, at least it was only on the list of approved places for Minsk. I think it probably always was approved in Gomel also, but for some reason it wasn't on the list. Now it's on the list, so I was like, I really don't want the extra stress of having to study medicine in Russian. Like, not that I have to study that much medicine, because I already know most of the stuff, not to sound arrogant, but I don't want to have to do it all in Russian. So I'm going to do it in English, and I can do it in English in Minsk, so I'm going to Minsk. I almost went to Lvov, Ukraine. Luckily, I didn't. I was also thinking about Moscow. These are places that had English language medical programs, and my wife was going to move to wherever I went. But I went to Minsk, and she just stayed where she lives in Gomel. We meet up on the weekends.
Okay. We just got David Clues from Unity News just came in. We'll just see if he can hear us.
Yep, loud
David,
and clear.
can you hear us?
Yep, loud and clear. How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yes, very well, very well, very well.
Can you just tell everybody who you are, how to get hold of you first, who's listening, watching?
Well, depends on who's wanting to get hold of me.
Yeah.
My name is David Clues. I run Unity News Network, UNN. We're one of the largest alt media organisations in the UK. We've been going now for about 7 years. In April, started off, things were much more innocent. I think now we're in quite a dangerous and scary place. So I've built up a good relationship with you guys due to my Russophilia, I think would be the term for it. I'm not really. I'm really a Russophile. I'm an anti-Westerner. So that's what I am now.
Okay, cool. Thanks for turning up. Hey, I've got. You've come on a few times. I've just got a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind. Just two.
Sure, bang away.
Okay, as someone deeply involved in independent journalism, how do you see the role of alternative media evolving in the face of increasing censorship and control by mainstream platforms?
It's a very good question, and I think it is so required because the mainstream media have basically given up any pretense trying to be impartial on key issues. What they do, which is quite subtle, is that on some things they do report normally, like they'll talk about both sides of the argument, etc. But just take recently the fall of President Assad in Syria, where they have just, the lies are off the charts. It's not even, look, clearly every Middle Eastern leader, call them a strongman if you will, is going to do things that aren't done in the West. They're going to have prisons that aren't up to our standards. They will maybe engage in some strong arming, so to speak. But the lies, I mean, what, like 100,000 dead in a mass grave, and he was running an international drugs cartel. I mean, it's just all garbage. It's just absolute lies. And we can obviously debunk that. We can show that it's nonsense. And that's why you need alternative media and alternative voices. Because on the big issues, they will push whatever agenda they're told to push.
From your perspective, which global issue we've discussed, whether it's censorship, geopolitical conflicts or societal shifts, poses the greatest challenge to freedom and democracy today, and why?
Well, I think it is to do with, obviously, the cabal that runs the world, and very much in relation to the behaviour of a certain Middle Eastern state, which has basically, for the last, since October the 7th, been completely out of control with their attacks everywhere on anyone. And unless they are reined in, unless they are stopped from doing this, they're going to plunge us into another war in the Middle East.
Okay, cool. You guys got any questions you want to ask?
I mean, I definitely can see the war with Iran coming up. It just looks obvious with the pieces falling into place right now. And I think that Netanyahu is trying to figure out a way to set up the United States to be invariably drawn into it.
Yeah, I don't think that
100%. And I mean, I was saying this about Trump. You know, all the pieces are coming into place. And if you even look in Europe, what they're doing, you know, they're pushing all these right-wingers, and people are like, oh, this is great. All of a sudden, we've got these right-wingers like Geert Wilders.
Just to get you ready for war.
Nigel Farage, yeah, exactly.
They're fake
not
right-wingers.
They're correct. They're not looking 2 moves ahead. These people are in because they're clearly going to support it. I mean, the only thing that, you know, well, it does worry me a wee bit is if you look at what happened in Syria, the speed with which that happened is, could the same thing happen to Iran? Could Iran collapse in a week or two? I mean, I'm certainly hopeful that they don't. But I mean, what do you guys think? You know, if all of a sudden B-52 bombers start appearing in the skies above Tehran, I mean, maybe they will. Maybe they will just fold and collapse.
I don't think so.
No.
I think they're a lot. They have a lot better control over their system over there, lockdown and stuff, especially with help from the Russians and everything. I mean, they're regularly putting down small, like terrorists, or I don't even, how should I even call them, terrorists, insurgency groups or whatever over there, regularly killing a lot of their members between them and Pakistan with their shared border.
Yeah.
But or is it Afghanistan? It might be Afghanistan.
Yeah,
The
it's
geography might be screwed
60
up.
odd million Iranians, hasn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
I
no,
think
82 million.
82
think.
million.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Americans have the opinion of, well, everybody's currently arguing over the whole Israel-Palestine thing. Then you have the Pakistan-India stuff, and I don't know. To a lot of Americans, they're just sand people. I don't know. Like, why the fuck should I care? Like, why are we there? Why do I care? I don't know. Let them kill each other.
I
I
know
know,
the
but-
guys that are at least in their mid to late 20s, they've caught on, especially the ones that have already been in the military. But I worry about like the 18-year-olds who haven't caught on yet. They don't have the life experience. You know, there's a reason you get 18-year-olds to join the army, because they're stupid and they'd have no life experience, no knowledge of the world.
Well,
Yeah,
and when we get to the why did I come to Minsk thing, then you're gonna get my viewpoint of, well,
Yeah.
I joined the army and then everything else. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with you guys pretty much everything there. But if you sign up for the military, you know, you're going to war or you're going to the brig, right? Pretty much.
You know what's interesting is when I was in high school, like everyone I knew wanted to like, hey, let's go to Mexico, take out the cartels. Let's go to Africa, take out these people. Like people were patriotic. Now they just want to like color their hair and smoke vapes and I don't know. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they still need a paycheck.
well, that's why you just sell pictures of your butthole on the internet.
That might work for, you know, certain people, but I don't
No,
know.
no. It works for literally anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you got a butthole, somebody wants to look at it.
Do you say that
So-
from experience?
I mean, probably somebody would pay for my butthole, I guess. I don't
he
know.
spent a lot of money on that.
So, David.
A lot of bleaching. You got a lot of bleachings beforehand.
Yeah, that's right. Bleaching.
No.
Laser removal nowadays.
People will pay girls extra for the ones that are unbleached and have hair.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Probably
what-
some weird
what-
Japanese dudes into that.
What do you guys think of Putin's end of year speech? Because he certainly appeared. Now, I have my reservations about Putin. I still think he's clearly one of the most formidable world leaders, but I think he really took the gloves off at the latest speech. You know, he was talking about porn. He was talking about the behavior of certain groups towards the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. That was the most unhinged, in a good way, that I've seen Putin, and it was actually quite refreshing. I mean, do you think, because he's always been a very reserved figure, but
Yeah.
he was really firing on all cylinders at that last meeting.
I think he's very comfortable where he is at the moment and
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah, he was talking about a certain group of people who belong to a certain ethno-religious group that usually isn't mentioned. I know who you're referring to there.
Yeah.
Because usually that he doesn't talk about them very much. Lukashenko talks about them sometimes because of the corruption issues with them. But
I really like that.
bring
What
it up.
was it, a year or two ago, that Putin brought out a list of all the top government people of the Soviet Union and who they really were.
Yeah.
And it was those 6 billion people we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
See, everybody is currently talking about current stuff with this guy. But you said he's from Northern Ireland, right?
Who?
This guy, yeah?
Dave? No, David isn't.
No.
No,
Scotland.
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 Yeah, where do you live? Just outside London, don't you?
No, I'm Scotland. Glasgow.
Oh, right.
Near
you're
Glasgow.
You're living in Glasgow. There you go.
So, with the state of the UK right now, how long do you think it will be before Scotland is basically another little India? Is it already almost there, or how's it going?
Oh, it's interesting because Scotland hasn't had the mass immigration that the rest of the UK has had, because like the weather here's really terrible. It does have it does have an advantage that nobody really wants to come here. The biggest change you've actually noticed is the lot more Africans because of the care sector. So like there's a lot of Nigerians came, but overall, I mean, Scotland still is pretty homogenous once you get out of the big cities. There always were some Indians and Pakistanis because of the links to the Commonwealth and the Empire, who when the initial bunch of Pakistanis and Indians came, they actually integrated pretty well. There was some issues, but there wasn't really that bad. But now you even see it that it is much more stark. And it's not as big a problem up here as it is down in England. England is, you know, especially the southeast of England, it's just open season in all the cities, Birmingham, Leicester. But the big thing you actually find up in Scotland is, especially is in the east, is the amount of, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it is most immigration comes from England because English people move up here to get away from what's happened down there.
Understandable.
So as this problem begins to, I don't know, progress or get worse, then what steps do you think that Scotland is going to take? Is there any way for you guys to pull away, or will the UK...
Well, it's a good question because during the independence debate in 2014, the SNP are a globalist party. They were proposing EU membership. They were proposing NATO membership. And, you know, they believe in open borders. Whereas I actually have said that there is an argument. If Scotland was to say, well, we're going to go independent, we're going to close our border, we're going to promote private enterprise, we're going to crank up the oil and gas again, you know, that's a far more convincing argument than the one the independence people currently offer. And that may happen. But the problem is all the political parties up here are just they're very globalist, they're very woke. But I think if someone came out and actually said that, I think a lot of people would look at it. I mean, I've always been pro-UK. It's just the way I was born, brought up. And I mean, intrinsically, I still would be. But if there was a situation where the whole of the UK was collapsing and somebody said, well, look, we'll go and do this. I mean, I'm not saying I would vote for it, but it would seem a lot more sensible than what they offered in 2014, which was just, you know, they were actually offering a more woke Scotland. And that's why people voted against independence, because they recognised that, that it wasn't true independence. It was just you would be a slave to the EU and you'd be a slave to NATO.
You know what I find shocking? You know, for the US, there's an argument that anybody can be president. But the UK, that's British. How on earth do people accept having an Indian as your prime minister or your president, whoever he is? That's ridiculous. Belarus would never elect some random person of some other race to be president. They have to be Belarusian.
Because in the UK you don't have to be born in the country to be the leader.
Like, and regardless, it's England of English people. You know, United English, Scottish. Like, you wouldn't elect an African to be in charge of India.
But no one voted for him. It was the party that voted for him. That's the difference.
Oh, okay, I don't know about their government.
Well, they have a parliament.
Yeah, and they get together and they vote who.
But I mean, if it was a country with like a million clones of me, we would never accept someone who's not even our own people to rule us. Like, how do you do? That's just insane. I told my wife, and she's like, "What? How is an Indian in charge of UK?"
Well, that's, I mean, the truth is the Tories then suffered their worst electoral result in history. Their vote went from about 13 million under Boris Johnson to 6 million. So, I mean, I fully agree, but as it was pointed out, the Tory party elected him to be Prime Minister. And because, I mean, the head of state is still King Charles, because we are a monarchy. So the head of state is King Charles, who is, you know, a white Englishman. But Sunak got in and he was just universally reviled and he collapsed the Tory party. And then the Tories then doubled down because they now have Kemi Badenoch, who's their new leader, who is an actual African. She was born here. Her mother was a health tourist. She was then brought up in Nigeria. I mean, the crazy thing about it is this is the Conservative Party doing these things, and the Tory Party are just so wet, and they is like, well, they can't call us racist because we've got a black leader now, and they are virtue signaling themselves into extinction, which is more than
It
needed.
should be like here in Russia, where you can't become the leader if you've got a different passport, a visa for somewhere else to live for 20 years or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like around that 20 years.
I'm not sure, and I do mostly agree with that, but then I think about me, like, I'm going to get Belarusian citizenship when I can someday, and if I were to want to run for president of the United States, should I be able to? I would be a good no, I'm not into politics, but it's like, why shouldn't I be able to if my allegiance was with I know, it's complicated.
No, because you got the problem like in Georgia where that president who's actually lived in France, got French citizenship.
It's a Sunday night.
So that's the problem, isn't it? You know, and then they do the NATO's bidding or EU's bidding.
Yeah, the problem is it's not a guarantee that someone who has dual citizenship is going to have other allegiance, but you got to probably just cut it all out just to be safe.
Yeah, but even Rishi Sunak, he had a green card for America.
He did. He did.
He was the Prime Minister of the UK.
He
You'll
did.
probably find out that all
basically
the leaders...
the British ruling classes have given up. Almost, they've just retreated to the shires. You know, they're all well off. They've got enough money. The way they think it is, well, look, I've still got my house in the Cotswolds. I've got my house in France. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, and the country's turning to shit. But I'm just going to accept it. And this is what pisses me off. Everyone knows this, that they've given up, and that's when you've got like someone like Starmer who's now in. Who's basically just it's a managerial. It's managed decline in Britain, and the only way it'll change is, I mean, you need a revolution in this country. Like Nigel Farage is just totally controlled. He will say some. I mean, I'd rather have Farage than Starmer, but he'll be very controlled as well. It's much more of the same, and it's they're just kicking the can down the road for as long as they can in Britain.
Like
Until
the pictures of Farage holding a pint while we're on that topic of him.
Yeah, but I'd never see the UK people actually rising up. They're too
They don't really have a history of it.
too placid.
well, they don't. But I mean, who are the UK population going to be in 20 years' time?
Yeah,
Mohammed, I saw, is your most common name.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. So once all the boomers die off, you're going to be left in a situation where it's going to be like, oh shit.
Yeah, ethnic
of-
British people are gone, man.
And speaking of the boomers, it reminds me of America, how, like, the boomer generation, they see all the shit happening, but they've already got their home, they've already made it in life.
Yeah, they
and
don't
then
care.
they tell the younger generation, oh, you guys, you just ignore it, just, focus on being successful, do your own, but it's like, it's not so possible anymore. Like, it's easy for you when you're retired.
Yeah, they don't
You don't
get
have
it.
to go to work, you don't have to make money, like...
No,
Well,
my dad was like that.
If you work hard like me, your house will go up 25 times in value due to inflation.
But
I know
crashes.
they're the worst generation in history.
Yeah, it's all because their property value skyrocketed, and they think, oh, I worked really hard. Like, you young people just don't work hard.
The cost of living relative to the rate of the pay increases over the past 30, 40 years is not caught up. I mean, like my dad used to tell stories about what minimum wage was when he was in university relative to what it is like back when I started working like in the late 90s and the early 2000s as like a teenager. And it's just, if you look at the price of homes compared to the price of the minimum wage increases, it doesn't match up. You're talking about, it's like 80, 90% off.
I know a woman. She's the only one who worked for her whole family. 4 children, stay-at-home husband, school teacher. She bought her own home and completely paid it off. Like, made payments, but eventually...
Yeah.
A single school teacher supporting a family of 4 children plus a stay-at-home husband, there's no way on earth they can buy a house nowadays.
Stay-at-home husband.
Yeah.
It was the exact opposite, though. Like when I go back to my grandparents' generation, where both of their wives were stay-at-home and they worked, but none of my grandfathers had university educations. And one of them was even a high school dropout. And, he was supporting 5 kids and his wife on a maintenance man's salary. One of my grandfathers.
He's not going to happen now.
He's like an industrial maintenance guy. And then the other one was a New York City police officer, and he supported a family of 5 also.
I want to throw out that I think that most of this stuff is manufactured. I think it's all fake value. They make all of the prices rise on purpose. These are people that you're talking about where they almost pretend like they can take the money to the afterlife with them.
I think they want to keep people as poor as possible, but just with enough that they won't revolt.
Yeah.
If they get close to revolting, then they give them a little bit more.
Well,
so
I
they're
mean, of
satisfied.
course, they've always done that. But you're seeing these people that they almost had to do nothing back in the day, and now they have. Where did all of this money come from? They print whatever they want. The values have increased, and they don't give anybody any more money, like you said. So exactly what are they doing?
And they're enacting communism also, because if you look at all the salaries in the United States,
Well, systems run on debt too.
all the skilled workers' salaries have stayed the same, while the lowest salaries have risen up. So you're shrinking that middle class into a lower class and an upper class, and everyone basically.
Let me give you a really interesting stat on that. They were crowing about the minimum wage in Britain, and when the minimum wage was introduced, it applied to 800,000 people. The minimum wage now applies to 3.4 million people.
Yep.
So all the minimum wage did was actually drag down salaries that were and jobs that were better paid and made them minimum wage jobs.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when I was in high school, I ended up switching to a different high school because they had a big welding program there. So I wanted to go learn how to do welding and metalworking and engineering. And so I went there and I was doing that stuff. And, then when we were going to the job fairs and stuff, I mean, depending on what you were doing, like if you were just like working on a factory line, you'd make like $15 an hour or something, anywhere from $9 to $15 an hour. And in my area, I'm from rural America. That was a good job.
That's decent.
Yeah, it was good. But for engineering and stuff, I mean, you're making $20-25 an hour. Maybe a really skilled welder, $20-25 an hour. And now, I mean, they're making that much flipping fucking burgers in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
But your cost of living is much, much higher in San Francisco.
Right, but is that because of the burger flippers, or the burger flippers are getting paid that because of San Francisco? Or what's going on there? Because
that just has to be like the way cities work. It's the same case here too, where you go outside of Minsk and the prices on things drop quite a bit. It's because when you get all these people concentrated in an urban area, efficiency starts taking over, and people start charging more because they feel like they can, because they've got more customers concentrated in a smaller area. Whereas you go outside the cities and things aren't as
also with
concentrated.
California, it's like everybody in the whole world wants to live in California. I know, not literally.
Maybe not anymore.
Not literally, but so many people want to live along the coast of California, so prices are going to be sky high.
See, but I think that's kind of a bullshit cop-out answer, because
people are literally buying houses in cash, multi-million-dollar houses in cash.
No. I mean, like, when you start sticking a bunch of people into one place, shouldn't it be more efficient and easier to get them products? And because you're not having to distribute it everywhere. I mean, I understand why things cost so much in America. It takes a week to drive across the fucking place.
It does. It might make things cheaper and more efficient. But if you're a business owner and you have more people demanding the product, you can start charging people more.
Well, so then I guess the question is, I mean, how do you limit greed? Because it's very subjective.
Well, that's an issue that's been a problem for
forever, right?
Thousands of years.
Eat the rich. No, I mean, it's the best term I heard about the mass immigration as well is, put simplistically, it's a human form of money printing. So if they can create money out of thin air, you're basically creating people out of thin air. And if you look at India's got a population of 1.5 billion people. Like, it's hard to basically comprehend how big that is. You take a country like the UK, you just import 800,000 Indians. I mean, India wouldn't even notice it. Yeah. What does it do? Drives up your asset values. Well, drives up property prices.
Sort of. In Australia at the moment, they're immigrating so many people that now there's people just can't afford anything because the prices of houses, because there's not enough around, going rapidly up.
But while you're on the subject of India, at the same time, you're getting all these imports from Pakistan. That's the same fucking country. the only difference between them. They're both Indian. It's that one is Muslim and one is Hindu.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have a very low domestic native birth rate. That's what it comes down to.
Well,
So, they don't want to scale back feminism to increase your native birth rate. So they're going to keep, empowering the women, getting them into the workforce to increase the consumerism and the consumption and lower the labor costs, while importing the third world to shore up the negative net population growth. So you can keep the Ponzi scheme going.
Well, that's the other thing is as well. Like, if you were to say to boomers, look, boomers, we're gonna deport 3 million people from this country, but your house is gonna collapse 20% in price or 30% in price. What do you think they would choose? Would they care about the future of their nation and their grandkids, or would they pick to keep the house price going up? And that's the thing is they will moan about immigration and the changing face of it, but when it comes down to it, the key decision makers and people that run big businesses as well, having a robot opened. I mean, I always say this: the people who should be arguing the most against mass immigration are people who are socialists or people who are left wing. Mass immigration is a tool of the capitalist classes because it drives down wages.
None of your public services work if you have mass immigration. You overload your health care and all your social support services.
The whole idea of any socialist should be to do what's best for their own people, their own country, right? To make the most equitable system for their own people. In some respects, that's more nationalism than socialism. But the socialist idea, how can you do what's best for your own people if you keep bringing in other people and you're treating them better than you are treating your own people?
Yeah, well, now you're getting into the National Socialist territory. And
well, I never said I wasn't one of those, but I mean, some people might take a little shame in that. I have no problem.
I actually argue, and I say this to people. You look at countries that lived under what was called the communist ruler Warsaw Pact countries, and you take Poland, for example. Even under communism, the birth rate remained steady. It was a Catholic country. It was homogenous. Romania, the same. Now these countries have collapsed. Their birth rates have collapsed. People have never been richer. But at this rate, they're not going to exist in 40 or 50 years' time. So what was better for it as a nation? Ceausescu and Jaruzelski, or Tusk, and the election that's even cancelled in Romania. And that's what these countries have done. They've made a deal with the devil, the Faustian bargain, which is NATO, which is OnlyFans, and that they're not going to exist in 40 or 50 years' time because they've sold their souls out. Whereas Belarus, Russia, all these other countries, they're going to survive. I mean, this might be a waiting game as well for Russia. It might be a waiting game for even China, North Korea, because in 40 or 50 years' time, what's Europe going to look like? These countries will still be there, and they'll still be solid.
Well, I just recently went to Poland, and, I keep on seeing in the news how they keep on talking about, we're not letting in all these migrants, and we're a Catholic country, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
Lies.
No, they're a bunch of fucking liars. I went there, and there was a bunch of fucking Africans. There's fucking shawarma and shit everywhere.
When I was there was an LGBT flag on every single business, like about this big. It's like a sticker they put on their window. They had on the buildings, they had the LGBT flag, the Ukraine flag, and the gay Belarus flag.
There's definitely a lot of Americans and foreigners there running around in Warsaw anyway. I haven't been there in about 5-6 years now, but when I was there, there's a lot of...
It's like little Ukraine now.
Expats running around.
Yeah, I mean, like when I went there was a fuckload of Ukrainians too. It was like you were better off speaking Russian there than speaking Polish.
Oh yeah,
Going back to the other thing though, Belarus. I mean, as far as what you were saying with like China, Belarus, North Korea and stuff, these countries surviving in places like the UK and Western Europe not. The birth rate is extremely low here also. I mean, it's basically the same problem in almost every industrialized country in the world because they've all done the same thing, following the United States model with, getting the women into the workforce, breaking up the traditional family, because it does benefit the ruling class because it makes the masses easier to control for them. You're less likely to have a revolution, but also you're less likely to have a war of nationalism have to spring up when you have a a fractured family structure inside your country.
Another consequence of women in the workforce that some people somehow overlook is the second women are in the workforce, everyone makes half as much money because you have twice as many workers.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. It reduces the labor costs. Yeah, because you're doubling the number of
Well,
workers.
it's not even just that. It's I mean, sure, you should give women the option to work. I mean, what else are the ugly women going to do? But at the same
They're going to
time,
have kids with the ugly men.
Well, actually, the way they did it in the early United States was...
Hungary's got the right idea with theirs. You know, like
Yeah,
as
but
you have
it's-
more kids, like if you have 4, you don't pay tax
I
anymore.
think there's only like 1.6 still their birth rate, which is only slightly higher than here.
Belarus does stuff like that. Like if you have 3 kids, they'll
They
pay
give
for
you a
about
free apartment
80%
or
of your
something.
mortgage. If you have 4, they pay for the whole thing.
Yeah, stuff
Anyway,
like that.
anyway, David, I don't want to keep you for long.
No, it's really interesting. Are all you guys in Belarus then?
Yeah.
yeah, we're all in Minsk.
All living here.
Yeah. I think you'll find what will keep happening is obviously we're probably all on the same page. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some things we don't, but like on by and large we will. And I find that very interesting. And what will happen is more and more people will just keep moving.
I think
New
so.
communities will be found, and it's as I say, I always liked Lukashenko, funnily enough, and clearly there's problems there. There's problems everywhere, but they still do have a bit of normality about them, and they're just totally lied about. And you know, when I speak to people, it's the right. It's a good decision if you are who you are and you believe what you believe, you know. And I do wish you guys well, and I think long term, there's going to be hope for it. And then if you guys have kids and if you have grandkids, because clearly, again, none of these people in these cities, you know, these people who do have, they're not having children, you know, so what they're going to be outbred eventually as well. So, you know, maybe we won't see the good days, but maybe the kids or the grandkids or someone else will.
I hope so.
That's what I hope for.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much
Good
for
night.
coming.
Take
See you,
Happy
man.
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I think it's funny that he was talking about that because I actually talked to a girl here, and she was telling me about how her parents and her grandparents grew up in the Belarusian village while it was still part of the Soviet Union, and they were saying that during and before the war, everybody was having as many children as they could. I mean, just like in America, you know, the big family of like 8 to 10 people. You know, that was normal. You know, like when I lived in America, like my neighbor, I know that man, they had like 11 brothers and sisters or something when they were growing up, and that was totally fucking normal. And then she was telling me that after the end of World War II, during the Soviet Union, husband and wives, they wouldn't share a bed together as a form of contraception.
I doubt they got 2 beds, so the Soviets wouldn't give them 2 beds.
No, they would get 2 single beds, and they would be spaced apart like fucking Brady Bunch style. That's what she was saying. So that way they wouldn't get too close together at night and have sex and have children. So they were limiting themselves on purpose. And obviously here we also know that during the Soviet Union they started to get women into the workforce a lot. And
Well, they wanted to get rid of gender.
Right.
Get rid of gender, get rid of religion. That's why they celebrate New Year's here, because they got rid of
Yeah, they
religion.
didn't
No
wanna
more
celebrate
celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told my wife, we're celebrating Christmas with our kids someday, not New Year's. She's like, why? Everyone celebrate. I'm like,
Well, I mean,
it's been long enough that, you know, Soviet Union got rid of Christmas. It's time to bring it back.
You should do both. I mean,
New Year's will be a party.
New Year's-
Christmas will be a true holiday.
exactly. New Year's is a party, and Christmas you should have, you know, around the fucking fireplace and eat a good dinner and spend it with your family. Open some presents. Like I said earlier, every good Christian knows that Christmas is really about the presents.
You know what's interesting to think that
That's very American.
Yeah.
It's like Easter's about the chocolate.
It's my favorite South Park quote. It's from a '90s episode. That's a real throwback.
Yeah. Let's get back on ours. How did you find the process of relocating and settling in Minsk?
I didn't even get to answer
Oh,
the
right,
first
your
question.
turn. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, we didn't go all the way around.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Why did you choose Minsk, Belarus as your new home?
I'll give you the short and condensed version.
Short and condensed.
No, Michael, you don't get to talk. You're invalid.
Oh yeah. Well,
You're a white man.
So no. I'm crippled and retarded. That's what we're talking about. So when I was 18, 19 years old, I was living in the middle of nowhere in America, in an undisclosed location, and no, I was in the middle of Iowa, very cold.
Cornfield.
Yeah, cornfields.
So where Captain Kirk comes from? Iowa?
I don't.
William Shatner?
No.
This guy's always
actually
talking about
Captain
Star
Kirk.
Trek.
Oh, I don't know.
Good
Maybe
show, the
that or
original
Missouri.
one.
I've never
I think
watched
it might have been
any
Missouri
fucking
or
Star Trek.
Nebraska or something.
Let's
I
have a
don't
look.
know.
Hang on, let's have a look.
You know, there's all we call those the flyover states. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
for a reason.
Yeah.
I drove through a lot of them though. To be quite honest, I've never been to Iowa. I drove through Missouri and Oklahoma and stuff though.
They're all the same fucking place. But for
Pretty
a
much.
classic American insult, your mom is a flyover state.
Oh.
Ooh, okay, anyway, cool.
So,
Your shortened version.
so my shortened version is, I don't know. Everybody was just, like I said earlier, wages never increase with anything. Even though I was trying to train for something that's pretty fucking difficult to do. They weren't paying you anything, and prices kept on rising. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to be in the Army. My whole entire bookshelf was full of World War II reading materials the whole time I was a kid. I had plane posters all in my fucking room. I loved playing the playing games and stuff on the computer. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go be a helicopter mechanic for the Army, because the Army obviously doesn't have the Air Corps anymore. They changed to the Air Force. So the last aircraft that the Army have, it's I mean, you've got some stuff. I was gonna do drone repair, which I should have done, but my stepdad convinced me not to do that because he was a helicopter pilot. So I became a Black Hawk mechanic, and I ended up going to Korea for a year after I got done with like 8 months of training first. And I ended up seeing that, like, I wouldn't say that Korea was better, but it was different. Like, the streets are clean, there's almost no crime, everybody there was Korean. And then you start to see, you know, is this what this is supposed to be like? Are you only supposed to be around people that are like you?
Works better.
Right. And funny enough, I accidentally ran into some Russians there, and they were some cool people. I never knew what they were saying. We were never able to communicate. We just ran into each other drunk at the bar, and we were just getting fucked up. Because, I mean, you know how Russians are. They're just as drunk as I am.
Well, Americans and Russians like to drink. Everyone likes to drink, really.
Well, and Korea actually likes to drink the most per capita out of anybody. So we're just in a place where everybody's just getting all sorts of fucked up, and nothing really mattered there. And it was pretty fun. You know, I liked it. So then I ended up going back to America, and after I got back, I had a leg surgery while I was in the Army. And it turns out that the doctor had done it incorrectly, but they refused to look at it, and they wouldn't do any scans, and they tried to kick me out of the Army and say that I was basically like malingering, like I was faking my injuries and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up having to get some higher ups involved. I got the brigade surgeon involved, and they ended up doing a bunch of scans, and they looked at it closer, and it turns out that they really fucked up my leg, like, permanently. And somebody was trying to cover somebody, I think, is what was going on. And so then I ended up getting medically evaluated, and I had I went through the IDES process, which is a Integrated Disability Evaluation Service. And so basically there was like a pilot program that doesn't even exist anymore. And they kicked me out of the Army, and they kept me from getting an actual retirement, and I ended up having a fight for that. And I had a bunch of lawyers involved and stuff that were assigned to me, and So then we were dealing with that, and so then I finally got everything settled, and I never got a real retirement, but I ended up getting the full disability from the Army, finally. And so then I decided, well, I play musical instruments, and I've always been interested in music, so I went to university, and I went to a music recording university, and I think I finally noticed what was going on when everybody in my class is like, you got these dudes that are wearing fucking dresses, and they're like coloring their hair, and I had some girl tell me she's not a girl, she's not a boy, she's it or they or whatever the fuck. And
If you're not a he, she, what are you? It? No, you're shit. If
Well,
you combine them
when
all,
did you go back
he,
to
she,
university?
it, shit.
All right,
guess,
was it after 2012, 2013? After that?
well,
Yeah.
like 2021.
Oh, so it's recent, relatively speaking.
Yeah, like I got out of the Army in 2018.
Oh, all right, yeah. So yeah, thing is, I mean, I haven't been back to an American university in 10 years now, basically. I'm sure it's totally whacked
You should
out.
have seen
Well,
it in 2016 when Trump got elected. They were having emotional breakdowns. The professors crying, hugging. Oh, we're all gonna die. Oh.
To tell you how this really was, this girl that told me that she's a they or whatever, you know, and like I don't understand this shit because like I just look at memes on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news. I fucking hate it. It just makes me fucking angry every time I watch it. So I look at memes. I play video games. You know, like I go out. I eat food, and
Yeah.
I just kind of like avoid people. At this point, I just don't like most people. And so this girl is trying to explain to me this they thing. And like I ended up forgetting about it because like I really didn't give a fuck about whatever she was saying, right? And then one day, like I'm talking to everybody, and like 3 of the girls from class disappeared. And it turns out that this girl had drank some like frozen slushy bullshit from Taco Bell that had an ingredient in it that she was allergic to. She's allergic to some kind of fruit. And this thing is called like a tropical breeze or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna have every fucking fruit you can imagine in it, right?
Is this still the short version?
Yeah. it's-
Well, no. So now we're telling this is a very specific story about when I realized everything in America went wrong.
Oh no, I'm getting on to that. So that's the whole thing. So
Oh well, so we can skip me when we get to that because, well, this girl. She had an allergic reaction to it, and they ended up having to bring her to the hospital. And I asked somebody like, "Hey, is what happened to her? Like, where'd she go? She was just here because he's about to call roll."
She did that because you called her.
Well. So then they were like, they had to go to the hospital, and I was like, "Who had to go to the hospital? What happened? Is everybody okay?" And they were like, "No. They had to go to the hospital." And I was like, "Who? What the fuck happened? Why is there so many people going to the hospital?" And they're like, "No, they went to the hospital." And I'm like, somebody just tell me what the fuck is going on. And then they were like, whatever her name was, they said, blah, 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 went to the hospital. And I was like, so only she went to the hospital. And then, no, they went to the hospital. And I was like,
just remember.
oh.
Remember on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
YouTube loves that.
And so then,
My whole thing with that is, that seems to have like jumped up, basically right after Obama's presidency. That whole thing, it seems to have accelerated a lot. But these people were born in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? Because they're coming into university back when you were there, in the early 2020 and 2021. So what the hell was going on in their early life, 20 years ago, that they turned into these people?
all those weird
that
chemicals.
relates to something I think about recently, because about a year ago, I was on Facebook and I looked up my best friend from like first grade through like the early grades.
Yeah.
We were into I thought we were into all the same things, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z, running around at recess, being kids. You got me, who's like not to brag, but like a manly man, And you got my former best friend who works at fucking Disneyland with like a clown. He's not literally a clown, but it's like, what kind of man works at Disneyland, does all that ridiculous crap, and he looks like he's
actually, I think a lot
not
of
even
girls
into girls.
work there. Yeah, there's a lot of chicks that are into that, doing that
Well,
as a summer
it
job.
sounds like somebody likes kids, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
that too. That,
It's,
But he doesn't look like he's into girls.
Maybe like 8-year-old girls.
anyway.
Well, that's what they do at fucking Disney World.
Yeah, I know. A lot of there's the highest percentage of like pedophiles in the world like lives around like Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, I mean they were having a huge problem with that when I lived there, because that's where I was going to university. I was outside of Orlando.
Yeah.
I was in Winter Park.
Yeah, there's a lot of them down there.
Yeah, and I was going to Full Sail University, and I mean fantastic school, a lot of great equipment. I mean I learned a lot about music recording there, to the point where I mean like I recorded my own stuff and made my own songs, and everything was great, you know. It's just I just couldn't deal with the people anymore.
Disneyland's like a cesspool of mentally deranged people. When I went there with my wife, it had like this big old blob thing. It was actually a guy, but I forget if it was a guy or a girl, but pretending to be the other one in a electric wheelchair just because they're fat.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to go through the disability line to get on the ride quicker, and then it's like too small to get their wheelchair through, and they get stuck, and then the staff has to. And
What the fuck?
My wife is like, these people are really weird.
Just
like,
go to Walmart.
Yeah, they are.
Just go to Walmart.
Yeah, just go to Walmart.
Yeah, just go to Walmart.
Yeah.
You know, just go to buy a ticket to
Dude,
Disney
every
World.
time you
Go
go
to
to Walmart, you see a bunch of fucking like fat single moms walking around, and they're just like ghetto trash bait.
Get this,
right?
when we were in Las Vegas near the
Yeah,
pool,
you see the cellulite hanging out of the back of their yoga pants. Yeah.
in Las Vegas,
That's
there were
bad.
these
Walmart's nasty.
Native American women that were about this big each, all in their electric wheelchairs, and they all had their big like slushy alcohol drinks, and they're like trying to position their electric wheel like beep 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 going in reverse, and then one of them like knocked into the other one. And, like,
It sounds like that cartoon Wally.
You know
when,
that was the first time my wife saw these big old heaps of flesh.
hey, everybody, this
Walmart's.
is Alexi, Michael, Andrew, and Steve.
You know what the worst part is
Nice to meet you.
once you hang out there long enough, all that cellulite and fat flopping around doesn't look half bad. It's like
It looks pretty bad.
It's like water when you've been crawling through the desert.
I just want to get out of Walmart as soon as I go in there. You know, sometimes they got good deals. You can get some good deal on something, you know. But you just go in there, get your business done, and get the fuck out.
One time I'm talking to my wife on the phone when I went to Walmart. Luckily, it was in Russian because I'm like, these animals, these that. And it's because it's a zoo. They're animals.
Yeah, I know. They're like cattle.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be stuck in with them, you know, in there any longer than I have to be. So I just try to get out because I don't like to be reminded that these are like living human organisms. You know, I don't want to imagine that exists. Yeah.
There's cattle, and then there's swinging from tree to tree. So
Yeah. Well, you got a bunch of farm animals in Walmart, right?
well, so I saw all this stuff, and then
Oh, back to that again.
yeah, well, and then I so
quick.
so this is how I chose Minsk, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm answering a
We're
bunch
not
of
getting
questions.
to the end of that. I got to leave probably about.
So
30 minutes
I
or
chose
so.
Minsk specifically because I kept on thinking, if all this shit is so fucked up in America, what is the absolute opposite? Well, obviously America fucking hates Russia for some reason. So I started trying to learn Russia, and I got on some language exchange applications, and then I ended up meeting some Belarusian friends. I got a friend named Alexander. He lives over in Mogilev.
I met a girl. He met a guy.
Yeah, but he's married.
Still.
He made it sound gay.
Well, that's obviously what he was trying to do.
I'm still with my girl.
I still talk to that guy.
I know.
Not in a gay way.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's okay.
so I ended up talking to him for a while before I decided, you know, I asked him, like, how do you think it would be for me living there? Because it turns out he shared a lot of the opinions that we have. I mean, if he was on this podcast, he's still learning English right now. I'm trying to teach him as much as I can. Him and his wife are trying to learn. Actually, Andrew's making a joke about this because he went out to dinner with us. It was the four of us. So
I'm making a joke about it because on the same app, I met a girl and you met a guy.
well, I mean, I also met a girl on
I
there.
came here because of a girl I met, and you came here because of a guy you met.
I also met a girl on there, and that's the one that then told me that she's a lesbian as soon as I got
I
here.
remember.
Yeah. So, well, and so then I kept on telling him I think I'm going to move to Russia. And then he said, you should come to Minsk. And that's it. I found a guy here.
Yes, Russia. Yes, Michael, you should come to Minsk because Russia has laws against this kind of stuff.
I think Belarus also has laws against that kind of stuff, and that's not the kind of stuff I'm doing
So it's
here.
early.
10 to 4?
But
Or maybe it's 10 to 5.
In the morning?
basically, the whole reason I'm here is what's the opposite of America?
It's an early game.
That's the short and simple answer.
Okay.
And
So,
so now I think I've answered at least 4 or 5 questions.
we're
So
going.
we're gonna
He
skip
might
me
be
for a
coming.
while.
So if you want to come.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. Yes?
Oh yeah.
Finished?
Oh yeah.
Ah, that was the shortened version.
Well, so
20 minutes later?
they
We'll
kept on
start
asking me
talking.
questions,
Yeah, I know,
and
I'm joking.
my version would have been short.
Okay.
What time did you guys start?
8.
8. Yeah. So we've been talking, and then we had guest on, and then I'm just going to go through a couple of questions with these guys so people can hear. Like, how did you process relocating and settling in Minsk?
Okay. That's kind of a complex question.
Can you do it short?
I'll try to. I mean, basically, it really wasn't that hard because I had already kind of been planning it for years, and not particularly to Minsk, but moving. And I kind of knew what I had to do. And I read a book by a woman who moved to Costa Rica with her husband. She wrote a book, I think, called like Happier Than a Billionaire or something. Maybe you heard of it. I read her book, and then I read about a few people who were expats, like on expat forums on the internet, what they did. And, just basically setting up your finances to make it as the transition as smooth as possible was the easiest thing. Finding banks in America that don't have foreign transaction fees on their credit cards and their
Which
debit
banks are
cards. Initially, I was using Charles Schwab, and all my Capital One cards have no foreign transaction fees. But now I got tons of my credit unions, and also my banks also have no foreign transaction fees. So I got like 30 credit cards, but almost I just know which ones have the foreign transaction fees and which don't, so I don't use those ones that have the fees. So
Like I only use Navy Federal,
Yep.
which is veteran or
yeah, they have no foreign transaction fees. Navy Federal, Pentagon Federal Credit Union, State Department Federal Credit Union, no transaction fees.
you
with them.
will pick one up on the debit card, not
Yeah.
on the credit card though.
Yeah.
And of course I also have the Capital One. Those 2 cards work good here because you got one MasterCard and one Visa card.
Yeah.
But you have to have somebody that's like been in your family in a direct line for you to get into a military credit union or bank like
Yeah.
USA.
It doesn't gotta be that close though. Like I didn't even check. I just told them, I have one grandfather fought in World War II and the other one fought in the Korean War. That was it. I got into Navy Federal.
Don't you qualify as an agent anyways? Or?
Not to know though. They're only military. I qualified to Penn Fed as being an agent, retired agent. So that's how I got into them.
One of my great grandfathers brought home a lot of cool stuff from Germany.
Oh, I bet he did.
Yeah, probably worth some money too. So yeah. Oh, and the other bank that has their debit card has no foreign transaction fees. They will reimburse. What happens is, a Fidelity Bank, I'll get hit with the transaction fee, but then they'll reimburse me at the end of every month up to $300 in transaction fees.
No shit.
Yeah, Fidelity does that.
Damn.
Yeah, because another story, but me and Charles Schwab got into a disagreement when I transferred several $100,000 over here to buy an apartment and stuff, and they didn't like me sending that much money through SWIFT with very low declared income,
Oh wow.
Relatively speaking. But because I've been investing since I was in my late teens, so I got other money. But anyway, that was the biggest thing, is setting up your finances to make it work, and you'll have to figure that out on your own, what works for you depending on what country you're coming from, be it America or whatever. The language is not going to be as much of an issue now because you got Google Translate, which I think Yandex Translate is probably better than Google Translate, so you could look that up if you're ever planning to come over here. Yandex works a little better than Google.
I definitely agree. It's better with the slang and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, but you got to realize, like, just even 10 years ago, that was like Google Translate was like barely kind of coming out and developing still.
And it didn't work that good.
It was shit.
You tried to do this. I mean, I'm 41 years old, and I was going to talk about this when we were talking about, like, because I was talking about, like, the stuff that kids are growing up with these days, how they're so weird and shit, and why they're becoming like this 20 years down the road. When I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was like, we're watching He-Man and friggin', Rambo and the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the big action stars are still masculine dudes back in the 80s and 90s. Even though, like, you could see the change starting in the mid-90s, late 90s, that things were becoming, definitely more...
Yeah, you look at the superheroes today, they're all a bunch of skinny guys dressed weird.
But there was still definitely like a kind of intrinsic line between like masculine and feminine back in the 80s and even the early 90s. And it was like there was definitely a kind of more like neutral towards the end of the 90s. But like in the 80s, and it was still like, you could call your friend gay and be like, it wouldn't be like, oh, it's so very offensive. You could walk around school even in the 90s and in middle school and stuff and be like, oh yeah, he's a fag or whatever. Now you can't say that. You get fucking
we actually
suspended
said that in my school when I was a kid.
Good, congratulations.
Only the teachers cared.
Yeah, I mean, I lived out in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, like I said, and even the teachers would say stuff like that.
Good.
but it all very quickly changed. When I came back from the Army after 2018.
Yeah, once Obama was elected.
Yeah, I had, when I was in the Army, there was, we started having those transgender safety awareness briefings. And then...
that was not even a thing back then. It was like...
Two girls that I knew in Korea decided that they didn't want to be women, they wanted to be men. And then one of them is an it, and one of them got divorced from her wife because her wife was like, I didn't marry a man, I married a woman. And then they had this adopted kid that they fought over, and you see this stuff firsthand. It's really getting fucked up. Because I mean, on a personal level, like, sure, you want to be a woman, you want to be with another woman, fine, fuck it, I don't care. Just don't fucking bother me, right?
Yeah.
But then you want to get this kid involved, and then you want to get this weird transgender surgery and stuff, and it's like, where do you draw the line? Like when does it stop being okay?
Pretty much the same place where the Islamic community draws the line, where at the edge of the rooftop.
Stop letting them fucking drive.
Andrew, relocating and settling in Minsk.
What about it?
The process for you.
Put my stuff in a suitcase and I came here.
That's it. Okay, you.
I found a guide here that a lot of people...
Short and sweet. Yeah.
I found a guide here that a lot of people have used. I actually made a Reddit post asking some questions about Belarus. A lot of people got very angry at me. Then I got a private message from another foreigner that had used this guy. He got me a visa in advance. I flew in on the plane, got interviewed. And like I said, I was in the Army before, and I had like a lot of awards and badges and stuff in my bag, so I had to explain all that to them. They asked me why I was here. I told them America sucks ass. They said, cool, have fun, and they let me in. So
actually, I put something like that on my permanent residency application. I said, I was like, because they want you to disclose if you work for the American government or you had any top secret clearance or anything like that. So I wrote everything down. I was like, I hate the American government. I wrote at the bottom of it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, is I think a lot of people...
They gave it to me, right?
they tried to tell me not to do it.
Permanent residency? Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yep.
Don't have to renew it every year.
Some people told me not to do it. Oh, you're going to go there, they're going to steal your organs, or they're going to get mad at you because you were in the Army or whatever.
Well, Ukraine uses embryonic stem cells.
Is that the blender you were talking about?
I mean, that's basically what you could... I mean, there's better ways to do it, of course, but that's
cheap and easy way.
The fundamentals of how you do it.
Yeah.
After you steal the failing organ of a 28-year-old Army veteran?
Only we're talking about
yeah, because he was talking about stealing his organs. You're talking about fetuses.
I know, related. I mean, Belarus, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Ukraine, This is where the stuff's going down.
No. But I mean, like, they were
talking
joking about how they're going to murder you or,
Yeah.
you're going to go to jail or whatever.
What I'm saying is Ukraine, that kind of stuff happens, but not here.
The funny thing is when I was having that interview with all those KGB guys at the airport and stuff, actually, they were super fucking cool. And we were, like, trading stories and stuff, and we were hanging out, and we were just almost just, like, shooting the shit for, like, 2 or 3 hours. Because I was telling them about how I was a helicopter mechanic and all this stuff, and then I was like, how are you a border guard? And he was telling me about it. And then actually the weird thing is like they had like a bunch of like hot chick border guards.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Customs officers. Customs.
That was a great fucking sight. I was like, man, I came to the right place, right? Yeah. So, I mean, everything was good. And yeah, like I said, he told me, cool, have fun. After, I think... as long as they see that you actually agree with them here and you're not fucking weird, they don't care.
They must be getting a lot of it though. I mean, just in general, not just Belarus, but also like Russia has this law now, this special visa program. Basically it's curtailed for Westerners who are against what the agenda in the West. You know, now you can get a 3-month visa for Russia if you disagree with your government's direction as far as the social policy.
And it opens the door for permanent residency.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, God, that's great.
I know a guy doing that right now.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they just open up that border soon. I've just been waiting for that.
Yeah, I want to go visit too, you know. Supposedly with these permanent residents, we can just hop over there just like a Belarusian, you know.
Well, according to the law right now, our permanent residency works in Russia, but in reality...
Yeah, it's supposed to work right now, but they haven't actually like implemented it.
I just hope once they implement it that we can go on land, not only by air.
Yeah.
Wait, are you guys saying only permanent? My temporary
it would be for everything.
Yeah, your temporary should work too. Permanent. Yeah, it should. Yeah. I mean, the permanent
I thought it was basically just going to be like open.
No, it's just that
the only thing that
works
they want
for Belarus works for Russia. Anything that works for Russia,
it just be reciprocal
but
recognition.
They just want biometrics and that kind of stuff when you enter, is what I was told.
I don't know.
Currently, you can't do it.
Right.
Yeah, they're not doing it right now.
But they want the biometrics once it opens.
I don't know why they're holding it up. They've been holding it up. They're supposed to be done 2 years ago. They're still.
Well, the girl that I talked to there told me that they require that all foreigners that enter and exit have biometrics taken.
For permanent residency,
when you do it, when you do the permanent residency,
they get
anyway.
all your hands, your entire hands. They
full
get your
fingerprints.
face.
I mean, they haven't done any of that stuff for me.
No, you don't do that for temporary residency. If you go through the permanent residency process, you'll have to do it.
I thought it was funny when they did my hands as I'm leaving. They go, Das Vidanya, which means like until next time. When I'm thinking, I don't hope there's a next time.
Yeah, I actually had to go back there twice because the friggin', you could go get the fingerprints done at a different place where they actually stamp it at the police station. So I go to the police station, they give me the document to get the fingerprints. I go to the fingerprint place, they do the fingerprints. Go back to the police station to get it stamped, and they said, the police officer was like, no, they didn't sign this part. You got to go back there. They got to sign this. I said, well, you're fucking kidding me. So I go back there, and the guy's like, what did they tell you? They said, we got to sign it? I said, no, they got to sign this. So then it's like the manager from the fingerprint place calls the police station. And he's like, sorry, he's just some stupid kid at the police station, new guy. He says, go back there and they'll sign it for you.
Oh, fuck.
Hey, I mean, it's just hoops you got to jump through because I had to go back to America to get the background check from the FBI and stuff.
You needed an FBI background check?
Yeah.
I just did a state one.
I'm surprised they took that. I mean, technically, you're supposed to get one from the national government, not a state level one, because the state level one is only.
It could be a different state that you did the crime in.
Yeah, exactly. Because the New York one, would just had New York stuff on it.
That's I'm gonna go get a background check in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you're gonna have to you do it from a state that you had residency in or something. Probably.
Yeah, I know someone that had the residency in one state and got papers from it. He moved around a lot, so he had papers from different states, and that was an issue.
Well, and that's an
that's
issue
when you
for
get the FBI one.
Most people from America.
I had to get 2 countries. I had to get Australia and the UK one.
But
all within 6 months, of course.
But that's a huge problem for a lot of Americans. I mean, I know my family, we moved probably 13 fucking times.
Different states?
Uh-huh.
Just go get the FBI one then.
No. Jeez.
It's not that bad. You just, because, I mean, at least the federal government has it all, online and everything, so you can apply for it online. You just got to do the fingerprints, send the fingerprints in.
Well, it's just, my thing is
you're going to have to get it apostilled either way.
Well, if they already know that America is this much of a problem and all these people are running away to here, then why are you asking the American government, which you already don't trust, to give you these papers that...
Well, why do you think they didn't turn me down? You think I got a freaking, 20 25-page criminal record check.
Well, yeah.
I don't have any convictions, but
Allegedly.
No,
Right.
I know I don't have any convictions, but
No, I meant allegedly you committed the crimes. That
yeah,
you weren't convicted.
well, that's why they couldn't want to convict me, because they knew if we went to court, it would have been the whole thing was to delay the whole thing as long as they could to keep me out of court.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's more of just to ruin your personal life than anything else.
It's just a weapon they use against you if you're challenging their power.
So, three of you, what's the biggest cultural differences you notice between USA and here?
The beef here fucking sucks.
I've had no problem with it.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's not nearly as good as the good steak I get in California, but also there's
Cultural
You had
differences, though.
at the
there's no
restaurant.
Mexican food.
There's no Mexican food. There's plenty of shawarma.
I like all the cultural differences. Like in California, people always told me I didn't smile enough. Like, I'm smiling when I'm laughing with us, but in general, I don't walk down the street like a crazy person. And here, you don't walk down. And like, why on earth should I say, "Hey, how you doing?" to some random guy who walks past me? Like, I don't give a shit how he's doing. He doesn't care how I'm. And in America, it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then the other person goes, "How you doing?" And then you just walk past each other.
Eastern Europeans are more serious in general in public. They're not like as. It's not really common like it is like where you might be like walking down the street in Texas or something and be like, "How y'all doing today?" Da 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 da. Like that sort of thing. No,
I think that's so weird. That's why I like it here.
No, I'm thinking it's okay. I mean, New York is kind of sort of like that a little bit too. But the thing is, you gotta, these people will open up to you very much once you start talking to them, and I've always kind of recognized that since I went to Russia the first time. But you might have to put a little more effort in here as opposed to like somebody, like if you start talking to somebody on the streets in New York City or something, they'll open up right away to you and start talking. But
I think that somehow America never really quite grew up out of the rural Wild West mindset. Like living in Iowa, every time that you drive down a gravel road and one of your neighbors drives down the road, you gotta wave to each other.
Well, I wave to my neighbors if I see them.
But I mean, like, when I say neighbors, I mean, like, you got, like sometimes, depending on where you live, maybe 4 or 5 miles of gravel roads that you're living on.
yeah,
So somebody can be your neighbor, and they live, like, 10 kilometers away from you.
yeah.
So when you're waving to somebody, it might be somebody that you've never even actually fucking met. You just see their car every once in a while. And, I mean, we got that whole Jeep wave thing in America. And then, I don't know. It's just it's a thing where, America, it's a lot smaller than you think it is.
The world's a lot smaller than you think it is. Like, I've met so many Belarusians in California. I've met Belarusians from Minsk. I've met them from Rechica. I've met them from everywhere. I've met Ukrainians. I've met Russia. The world's a small place.
But as far as cultural differences, what is culturally different?
Well, I was just talking about that Wild West mindset.
Culturally different. After you drink vodka, you eat something afterwards
How
rather
about-
than just drink something.
They really believe in the rules a lot, I think. Kind of.
Oh yeah, they're very
Yes.
and not so creative. Like you say, "Hey, I want pepperoni and garlic on my pizza." They're like, "Oh, there's pepperoni pizza, there's garlic pizza."
What I mean is, if you go to a crosswalk here at 2:00 in the morning and it's a red light, even if there's no cars coming either direction, obviously you can't see anything. It's the middle of the night. Most Belarusians will sit at that light and they'll just wait until it turns
It's
green.
illegal to cross if it's
I
not
know
green.
it is, but you know what?
You're gonna cross when it's red?
No, because I've been ingrained into it. But
I'm just
I
messing
might.
with you.
I know you are. But still, like, in New York City, nobody cares.
I know. It reminds me when I first came here. The first
In
time I
London,
was here,
in London, it's like you can cross the road anywhere,
Yeah.
anytime, and if you get run over, it's your own fault.
well, in
That's
America,
how
if you
it
get
works.
hit, it's the
That's the
driver's
law.
fault.
That's the law, which is
In America, it's the other way around. You're allowed to cross wherever, like in California.
Yeah.
But if the car hits you,
California
it's the
has-
car's fault.
Yeah, California has some weird laws on that. Like you have to you have to cede to the pedestrians there, even if you're like half a mile away.
I've been driving in California, and there's just some fucking bum in the middle of the street, like swerve. It's like I'm going 60 miles per hour, and like, hey, if I just flew through him, I'm in the wrong.
Yep.
Even though he's in the middle of the street, in the middle of the night when it's dark and I can't see.
But the babushkas here, they walk right across. They don't care about those red lights.
What's the most surprising or challenging aspect of adapting to life here?
The language.
Well, I mean that's too easy.
Yeah, I know. It's
What would it
too
be
obvious. It's too obvious.
I mean,
you can buy speaking English here, no?
I mean,
Yeah,
you
I do.
can, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend speaks. She's native, so
The food.
I speak a little bit of Russian, but having a little bit helps a lot. Just a little bit, even.
I'd say the food is a big thing. I think a lot of Americans wouldn't be able to.
What, the food adapting to it?
Mm-hmm.
You got McDonald's here.
Yeah, the McDonald's is the same thing.
Sure, but I mean, like, if you're gonna look at stuff that you can afford, I mean,
Well,
You can afford McDonald's.
that
well,
goes
sure.
that goes into the question of what do you
Here
miss?
you can afford McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's because proportionally, like, it's a lot cheaper than ours. But if you look at it, it's also a lot more expensive than, say, like, eating sala and borscht and stuff from the store.
Well, you gotta cook borscht.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Americans don't fucking cook food. They eat everything out of the frozen section, and you ever look at how big the frozen section is at Walmart? It's fucking huge, right?
Yeah.
But here you have Culinaria, where the food is pre-made. You just go, say what you want, and then
Yeah,
they'll give you, and you warm it up at home.
Yeah.
Right. But, I mean, like, you don't go to that every day, do you?
No.
Right. You cook your food.
I cook, yeah.
You know how to cook.
Yeah.
You know how many people in America, like, I mean, like, I've had girlfriends before, like, they don't even know how to fucking cook scrambled eggs.
I have a very advanced method of cooking. I got these glass baking trays. I buy meat, whether it's steak or a lamb or a chicken. Put it in the baking tray.
In the
Put
microwave.
the baking tray in the oven.
Oh, well, at least the oven's a little better than the microwave.
And then I just wait. And then it's done, and then I eat it.
See, I mean, like in America, I would have people over at my house all the time because I would be cooking like you know the cut of prime rib on a cow, right? Well, I would get that like from a pig, and I mean like it would be like $100 or whatever, and it'd be fucking massive, and I cook that whole thing in my oven, or I cook a rack of lamb, or I cook fucking octopus or whatever. Like, I was always cooking crazy shit at my house. I even cooked a rabbit one time, and, you know, Americans, we never eat fucking rabbits.
Where's the best place to get meat here?
I don't know.
No. Oh, that's right. You're a vegetarian. I forgot.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
You a vegetarian or a vegetarian?
Both.
Jesus
We
Christ.
definitely have more of a meat oriented eating style in the United States. Definitely.
I eat like 1.5 kilos minimum of meat each day.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. You're obviously still lifting weights, though. I'm not.
Yeah.
I used to, but
Yeah, if I don't work out, then I cut it down to maybe like half a kilo, 1 pound per day.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm eating healthy, I actually increase my meat intake.
Oh yeah, a friend of mine, he's doing not the greatest with health, so I told him a bunch of stuff. But one of the things was for your diet, like first of all, vitamins. You got to take your multivitamin, you got to take your multi-B vitamin, you got to take your vitamin C, your CoQ10, all the stuff. And you got to eat at least 1 pound of beef a day, and you got to eat 5 eggs a day. And he's feeling amazing now.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a carnivore diet.
It's not carnivore, it's just you
Well,
got to at least have
up
a
his
minimum of
protein
1
intake.
pound of beef and 5 eggs each day, and you can have whatever else you want.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like about here is they have lots of fish. All right.
But not very good fish.
Yeah, it's all like
Oh,
the
the-
salted and the dried fish and stuff. And my girlfriend loves this stuff. She starts cracking open the container with the salted herring in it. I'm like, oh, I can't smell this. This stuff reeks. Anyway, I used to make it a habit to try to get some
I actually love that stuff.
I do too.
I can't believe you guys. I
Dude,
can't
it's
eat
so
this
good
stuff.
with
It
like
stinks.
beer and vodka.
Nobody
And
eats that in America, no?
My only issue with it is too slow. I need to eat a lot of food, so I can't spend all day like eating these little fish or like the dried salmon where you like pull it off
Yeah,
the
with
bone.
the bones.
I don't
Yeah.
have the time to do that.
No, I don't. I like fish, but I usually eat like broiled or baked or fried or like steamed. You know, so I'd always like eat. I always make it a habit to eat some some fish once a week in America, and I can't be eating this stuff though. I don't really. Yeah,
You got to go to John Dory.
I don't know that.
So in Galleria, below it, I think
Okay.
it's green now. They keep changing it, but there's a John Dory there. No, actually, John Dory's on the the ground level in Galleria. There's also one in Grushevka. There's just look up John Dory. They got good fish.
Good fish. All right.
Yeah.
I have to travel to get good fish. Well, I can always go to McDonald's and I can get like a fillet of fish sandwich, which is good enough, I guess.
So how's the local community in Minsk received you as an American expat?
Great. Only time there was something a little bit funny, and not the bet. And it was nothing, but I was at an MMA place right when the war started, and some guy got a call on the phone, and he's like freaking out about it, talking with his buddies about like what they got to do, and then he hears me speak English, and he goes like he was just, wow, the enemy's here. But that was the only one time.
The enemy's here.
Yeah, that's
Okay, what do you miss? You miss anything from the USA?
Sushi, Mexican food, ocean.
Yeah, I miss tacos. I miss.
Yeah, there's good
Actually, I went
sushi
to
places.
Yeah, there's sushi. Is there? There's good
I've
sushi
ever
places
had.
around here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any good taco places though.
Yeah, there's no fucking taco
Yeah,
places.
they don't like the hot food and everything.
No,
I
they, don't
miss.
like, they don't like spicy food.
They
here
don't
very
like
much.
spicy. I like spicy
you
food.
can
yeah.
find Indian food here though.
Yeah, and you could get some Asian too. I mean, they don't have like
They got Korean barbecue.
They don't have the American style like Chinese takeout places though, like we have. You know.
Yeah,
no, that's not true. You can find like lo mein and stuff.
Have you been to Sushi House? It just
There's
opened.
They have like the grand buy. I don't want to sit down and eat that. I just give
Okay,
it to me in
there's
a little
other
white
ones,
container.
not
I
just
can eat it
one.
with some chopsticks or something.
Yeah, that's what they
Really?
give to you. Yeah,
They
yeah,
do,
yeah.
huh?
It's
I haven't found it yet.
you can find it on the Yandex delivery.
And they don't have delis. Like they used to have Subways here, I guess, but they closed. But they don't have any deli
I do like
places.
that
really.
Yandex
Nobody
delivery.
eats Subways here. People just the Subways places that they had.
They
all
closed.
No one
Yeah,
likes
I know.
sandwiches here.
Yeah, nobody likes sandwiches. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, they like
I
burgers.
miss chips and salsa.
When my girlfriend went to America, I brought her to New York 5 years ago, and the only thing she was eating there was macaroni and cheese and deli sandwiches. The whole fucking, that was the only thing she found that she liked to eat in the United States. And that's all she was buying was like American cheese with like roast beef and turkey on American white bread, which is like different than the white bread they have here. But
Speaking of being
I
how
like
we were
all of those
received,
things.
I even like I'm received so well that I don't like it a little bit because I'm not trying to be the center of attention for every event I go to. Like if I go to someone's birthday party, I want the birthday person to be the center. I don't want them to all be focused on me. But people receive me very well.
yeah, everybody's been very nice to me here usually. Although when I go back home and I tell people that I'm living over here, they'll be like, a few people, rarely, they'll ask like, oh, how are you over there? Are they okay with you being an American over there? I'm like, they don't like us, I heard, I'm like, no, you see, they don't buy into that propaganda bullshit really so much over there. I'm like, that's more of a problem over here with the people here thinking that they're the problem. I'm like, you're listening to too much of the stupid news on the TV over here.
Yeah, before I moved here, like I had visited a lot, but some people close to me are like, you're not one of them. Be careful. You'll be like at a bar with your wife, and they'll get mad that like you took one of their girls, and they'll beat you up. It's like, no, they're not going to. That may be a good idea, but
Listen,
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I was in Korea, I was with a Korean girl.
Yeah.
And like old men would like fucking spit on my feet and stuff.
I would be pissed if some
And-
foreigners taking my girls.
Well, and so one time, like, I had a guy, like, half my size, probably, like, fucking 80 years old, fucking spit on my feet and start yelling at me. and as soon as I fucking turned around and I asked him if he had a fucking problem, the guy just looked at me like, oh, I didn't think you would say anything.
He's 80 years old. I mean,
Well, I mean, like, but, I mean, there's a certain level of respect, like, I didn't do anything weird. Why are you spitting on my feet?
I personally say it's like, these are our girls.
No, I can agree
Don't
with
you
that.
dare
You
come
didn't do
here
anything
and
wrong.
take them.
I had some kind of similar experience, but it was in America, though. Because when I lived in Texas, I lived in Brownsville. It was like 98% Hispanic. So I'm living down there. I was dating Hispanic girls when I lived down there. And, they didn't really care so much. I mean, being the
they're
gringos dating the Hispanic Mexican girls, whatever.
I mean, they
They're
want
like
to be as white as
3/4
possible. It's
yeah,
like you
they're
go to
like
Mexico, they
3/4
want to
white
be whiter.
anyways.
Yeah.
No, I mean, these people are like barely one generation removed. Most of them speak Spanish in their homes and stuff, okay?
When I was
I blend in a lot more here than I was back there. When I
Right.
walk into a restaurant down in Texas, in that part of Texas, everybody turns and looks. There's the gringo.
Well, it's like when I
It
fly
doesn't
back
happen
to
here.
Los Angeles, I go to LAX, the airport. I don't feel like I'm going back home. There's all
Yeah.
these foreign people, and they're not even they're speaking English because they're working there, but it's like they're all foreigners. And I go to the beach, and I don't even hear English that much. They're all different colors and shapes and sizes.
Well, I walk into any place around here, as long as I don't fucking start talking, nobody knows I'm not a Belarusian.
Well,
they know. They can see.
Oh,
they
they-
look
No,
at you.
they're
know.
very bad at
Then
it.
why
We
they're always
can
coming
see-
up to me and talking it?
We can
No,
see
they're
because
always
we
coming
know
up to me and
different-
talking in
No,
Belarusian.
we walk around. My wife always goes, "That's a foreigner."
Yeah,
and then she-
your wife because she's been around the world, but Belarusians they cannot.
No.
We can see it, they can't.
Oh, okay.
No, they will come up to me and start, splattering off 10 different questions in Russian to me, and I'll be like, I don't speak that much Russian.
they can, but they can't. It depends on
It depends on who it is.
what you're wearing that day, what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Even just the way that they saw you standing.
Probably changing, especially in Minsk, because of the number of foreigners. But you go to some other city, if you're white, they think you're Belarusian.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
as simple as it is.
Yeah, that's pretty much, go to any country in Europe and nobody's going to really.
Yeah.
So, what are your long-term plans in Belarus? Do you see yourself staying in Minsk for the future?
Let's go in a circle.
Oh, we're going to do the same thing? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Sure.
I bought an apartment here and I have a son here. So I got family here now. I'm tied to the country, basically. Am I going to stay here till the rest of my life? I don't know. There's a chance I could. Maybe 10, 12 years from now, who knows? If something comes up, if things look particularly dangerous with what's going on geopolitically, I might have to bail out of here. I don't know. But right now, I think I'm going to be spending some time here going forward.
Andrew?
You can never predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone 5 years from now. So I don't like talking about the future too much. I like it here. I like being here. Now, some things I don't like is there's no ocean nearby, and there's not very good fish. I like both of those things.
And
I
no
like
Mexican
ocean,
food.
And I like fish and Mexican food. I might end up in Russia someday. I'll probably spend some amount of time in America, but in general, I like this part of the world.
What about the climate?
I don't like. I wish it was colder right now with snow.
This climate is.
I don't like rain. I don't want to be wet, but snow, it's all good.
Michael?
I like cold. I like the snow, and I like this place. So I think if shit starts to pop off, I guess I'll just have to see how many blue helmets I can pop off. So.
You think the UN is going to be in here?
Oh yeah.
Hopefully not.
Okay, what's your favourite thing about
What-
Minsk that you didn't expect to love?
I just wanted to follow up with that last thing. I was
okay.
going to say that the weather here is basically exactly the same as where I'm from in New York. It's
Same for me.
same weather exactly. Almost even right now, if I look at the weather there, temperature is almost exactly the same. My favorite thing that I didn't expect, was that the question?
Yeah, a favourite thing about Minsk that you didn't expect to love or like.
I lived in the suburbs most of my life in upstate New York. I like the convenience of being a 2-minute walk from the metro and being able to get around the city like that. And I like the simplicity of their public transportation systems in general. Not just the metro, but the buses, the trams, the trolleys, and everything. If you get used to that, it's very efficient, and the way they've set it up, as opposed to like New York City, which originally it kind of started as a grid, but now it's more just like a giant clusterfuck of all this metros going in all different directions and buses everywhere. But here it's all like a circular spider web and everything, so you can kind of figure out where you need to go much easier. I like that.
Andrew?
So when I was younger, and I still want to move out to the middle of nowhere, just, you need to have the finances to live in the middle of nowhere. I always wanted to live in the middle of nowhere, not in the cities, but being here in Minsk, this is like the biggest city I'd ever want to be in. But I do like that, I walk most places. If I can walk somewhere in an hour or less, I walk. If it takes more than an hour, I'll typically take the metro or the bus or something. I just don't have infinite time. If I had infinite time, I'd walk everywhere. But I like that I can, walk over there, meet up with that guy. Walk over there, meet up with that guy. I'm walking down the street. I see one guy I know. I see another guy I know. Maybe I stop by and we have some drinks together. It's kind of nice having that small, everyone's in the same place. It's easy to go to different restaurants and meet people, go to different people's houses, see people you know.
Michael?
Well, I guess for me, originally my family is from San Francisco, and we left there because, it's fucking San Francisco. It's fucking awful, right? So moved out to Iowa, and we lived outside of the closest town to us was 350 people, and then the closest city was like 20,000, and so Minsk is the biggest city that I've ever actually lived in without being on an army base. And so I guess for me the thing is like everybody keeps on saying you can walk around everywhere, and I hated being in the city in America. I really hated it because our cities, they're just fucking awful.
Yeah.
They're dirty, they're fucking dangerous. I mean, there's garbage everywhere. You got so many weird people.
None of that here. No garbage on the streets. No dirt. No places clean here.
Well, the one thing that you do have is those really bad alcoholics that walk around and like steal all the stuff out of the garbage cans.
Sometimes.
That's the only real big problem they have here. But now I live in an apartment. Before I was in the center, and you know, Europe. And here's something that's really fucking weird as an American: gypsies.
Yeah.
We don't really have
forgot about
that.
them. I forgot. That's something we should have brought up.
We don't really have gypsies in America. Like,
no.
not like you do here.
No.
This shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I had no idea that something like this existed. When I went to Berlin, it was even fucking worse. I mean, at least there's not that many here, but
yeah.
I mean, like I in the center, like I would go across the street from my apartment, I'd go eat lunch or whatever, sitting outside. The whole family of fucking gypsies are like asking you for money, and you gotta like hide all your shit from them, otherwise they're gonna like steal it from you. And
they're very aggressive.
Never had
yeah. And like I remember, like, it's really funny though because they're kind of fucking stupid.
Oh yeah, they're not, or else they wouldn't be gypsies.
Right. So like whenever you speak English to them, like I told one of them, like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying, but I don't fucking want it, because it was like a 11 or 12-year-old little brown kid.
Yeah.
And like he's like duh, 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 and like sticking his hands out and all this other bullshit, and as soon as he heard that I was starting to get angry at him, he just fucked off.
I was surprised one came up to me recently. Little guy wearing that. I think their new thing is they want to wear nice clothes and go, oh, I'm not a bum. I'm not a beggar or whatever. See, I'm wearing nice clothes. But there was this little, like, I'm not that tall. But this guy, he claimed that he came to Belarus to be a builder and that things didn't work out. It's like, dude, you are not a builder. I should have asked to see his hands.
Like a construction guy?
Yeah, it's like, dude, you are not a construction worker. That's nonsense.
Okay. Can you recommend a hidden gem or a lesser-known attraction in Minsk for visitors?
I think the zoo is pretty good. Just the zoo in Minsk is I only went to it this last summer, and I thought it was pretty good. You know, for Minsk, definitely worth seeing.
Andrew?
There's a nice park near Malinovka, between Malinovka and Petrovshchina metro stops.
Is that the flower park?
No, it's just a
they got like
park.
there's like a pond down in the middle of it or something, right? Yeah, I was over there a couple days ago.
Is that?
It's not like some big attraction.
That's not the flower park.
Gotta say
no,
something.
I think you're thinking. Are you thinking of the one?
Well,
over,
because I'm thinking of
the botanical gardens.
Yeah,
that's over by
those are badass.
Churinska, I think Park Churinska.
They got a bunch of like decorative hedges and like there's a big fucking pond and
that botanical garden, that's pretty cool in the summer. Gorky Park's good too in the summer because they get all the rides
right
and
next to it.
stands.
Yeah, they got like a carnival going on all the time. Yeah,
in the summer anyway. It's good for the
Great
kids.
Patriotic War Museum's good if you've been there.
I've been there, yeah. It's
Well,
okay. I still think the zoo is more cool than that, but they have a surprising amount. You know, there's one poisonous snake that they only have it in the zoos here and in Czechoslovakia, nowhere else in the world. And I learned that from some guy, American YouTube reptile guy, who said that they only have it in captivity in Belarus and in Czech.
I was surprised. I was on a boat with like a little
I don't
rowboat with my
species,
wife in Warsaw, and there was a snake going through the water.
Water adder, probably, something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, we had those in Texas too.
Well, in Iowa we would call them water moccasins.
Yeah, that's what my dad called them when I was a kid.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you get bit by a water moccasin in Iowa, like that's bad fucking news. Like,
Yeah, they're poisonous.
you gotta go to the hospital.
Yeah.
We've covered transportation, but what about public services like healthcare?
Healthcare, I would say quality and quantity are good here. What I mean by that is you'll get a lot of quantity at a reasonably high quality level.
It's good. It can be a little bit difficult when you're doing the whole thing with the public polyclinics, as far as you might have to wait quite a bit to see a doctor, depending on what it is. But also I've noticed their prenatal care for when my girlfriend was pregnant. It was very good. I mean, they were compared to America, like when you might get a checkup like once or twice every trimester. I don't know. I forget what it is. But I remember when my mom was having my little brother, she wasn't going to the doctor as much as my girlfriend was here. My girlfriend was going to the doctor like once every 2 weeks and getting blood work and getting checked up through the whole thing. So it was all, she was being well monitored by her doctor. So, and that was all through the public clinic system here.
I will say one thing that they need to work on. When you go to university, and I think it's similar if you have a job, university at least, say you're sick and you don't want to go to class. You have to go to the polyclinic and get a note. It's like, if I'm actually sick to the point where I'm not going to go to class, I don't want to be going to the polyclinic either. Like, if I'm barfing my brains out, having diarrhea and everything, why should I go to a polyclinic and sit for 2 hours waiting for it? It's ridiculous.
It's actually the same argument that we used to have with sick call in the Army. I mean, like, I can understand going to the clinic if you have like a broken arm or something like that, but if you're just like shitting or puking or whatever, I mean, like, it just happens sometimes. But on the other hand, I guess with my medical experience here, I had food poisoning so bad that I had like a 103 or 104 degree fever at one point. And they took me to the fucking hospital, and I had to share a room with 6 fucking dudes. I'm just shitting my goddamn brains out.
But you didn't get a $2,000 bill.
No, I mean, there's no bill, but, there's 5 other guys that every time they hear, they're fucking laughing at you, and I'm like, because I can feel my fucking stomach leaving through my asshole.
Okay, what misconceptions have you encountered about Belarus that you've been able to dispel here, living
Everything.
here? Everything?
Like, it's easier to just say, like, how can we even list all those things?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, as an American, everything that you've ever heard about here is just not right. You just have to come here. I mean, the people, they're nice. There's,
And I like to use the bottom line argument. You get a lot of people that will, like, make all these arguments about why Belarus isn't good. And I go, well, let's look at the bottom line. Life here is good. It's better than in Germany. It's better than in the West. Like, so it doesn't matter all these little details you nitpick. The bottom line is it's good here.
Yeah.
The only problem that they actually have here is wages and the amount of money they have. Everything else is absolutely perfect.
But you should go argue with people on Facebook who will tell you that this is a terrible police state and
apparently only like 40% of the people in Belarus even have running water.
Oh yeah, they don't have toilets. They don't have washing machines. Yeah. And
they keep stealing the chips out of the washing machine.
And you get thrown in the gulag if you like fart in the wrong direction. So
see, but I never understood why they always use that as an argument, because if you go somewhere rural in America, I mean, some places like you're running off of a well.
Yeah.
You have a septic tank, but I mean, like I've been places in America where we were shitting in an outhouse during the middle of the winter.
I know.
I mean, those places still exist.
There's a lot of rural areas in America. Tons of it.
It's well, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing on the internet from anywhere are these people that live in the middle of the city. They have nothing fucking better to do, and they don't know what they're talking about outside of their city.
Or
these
they're
people
just
have to get water from the ground. See how horrible life is.
I think a lot of
where
it
else do you get water from?
is bots and the paid American government troll internet
there
army.
are so many bots. Like one time I made a video about like the reality of living in Belarus or something. Short video, 1 minute long, and I talk about like I dispelled a few myths.
Yeah.
Every single comment on my video, and they just poured in like crazy.
Yeah.
No thanks, I'll keep my freedom. Every single comment saying, no thanks, I'll keep my freedom. No thanks, I'll keep my freedom. And it's interesting. All the like the profile photos were like army guys and stuff. So it's like, oh, real Americans will keep their freedom in America.
I don't know what kind of freedom you're talking about when you lose your job if you just say anything that's slightly homophobic or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
You know, how free are you if you got to watch your P's and Q's like that when they don't give a crap if you say stuff like that here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one piece of Belarusian culture, whether it's art, music, literature, or whatever, that has really struck you?
I went to that National Art Gallery, and man, everything in there is fucking awesome. You ever been to the National Art Gallery?
You're talking about the one in the city center, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure I've been to that one.
It's near my old apartment that I had on Karl Marx Street.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been there. I think I've seen it as a nice one. It's 2 floors, right?
Yeah, well, no, it's more than that. Like, there's more than one building, and there's 2 floors.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, that place is incredible. I mean, they got stuff from, like the World War II liberation, and then they got, like a bunch of, like, other war stuff, and obviously the war stuff is my favorite. But then you've got, like, traditional Belarusian stuff, and there's a lot of Russian.
Are you talking about the museum that has like the statues of the people out front?
I'm not sure. It's got like big fucking pillars, like marble pillars, and
it's right by Kupakaliska metro station.
Yeah,
right?
I've been to that one.
Yeah.
That's where.
That's the National Art Gallery.
Yeah.
And they've got like a rotating collection. And it's got crazy stuff in there.
Yeah, I think I've been there. You're talking a lot of these things. I kind of banged out a lot of things the first year I was here and saw a bunch of that. And now it's just me and family days all the time now.
Anybody been to the ballet here?
Never been.
I've never been to the ballet.
No, I haven't been yet.
I've been to the ballet in Russia though.
I'm supposed to go at the end of January.
I went to the ballet in Russia once. It was pretty cool.
I'm gonna go see like a Swan Lake or whatever.
I saw Romeo and Juliet in Ekaterinburg. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, do you want to keep going, or?
I'm gonna head out soon. But if you want to do one more, maybe.
Let's do a few more questions.
Okay. Well, we've done the Belarusian ones. Do you want to just do a quick 5 or 6 world events?
Sure. Let's just keep them short. The answers.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll do one.
I'm
gonna head out.
You start. Which news story from last week resonated with you the most?
Is it considered last week, or is it more than that now? That the Luigi dude who killed the CEO.
Yeah, just
the fact they keep talking about it.
He's over there.
He does. Yeah, a little bit.
I got the beard
You're
now, so it's a good
bigger,
disguise.
more stacked than he is, though.
Yeah.
But he was pretty lean, though. But anyway, that dude it struck me because nobody shuts the hell up about it. They keep talking about it.
Yeah.
As far as
there's a lot of people saying it was good.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of popular support.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the biggest things about even looking for a career in America is, and I remember this when I was growing up, my parents were telling me, better make sure they have health benefits and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, when you're growing up in America, you have to look at salary, health benefits, how much you're going to get taxed.
You almost need to bring a fucking lawyer every time you go for a job interview in America.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fucking do anything without. You need like a whole team of people to help.
I know, yeah, you do. It is to the point now where really, if you want to do it the right way, you almost need a guy to bring a lawyer to every job interview with you to make sure you're not getting screwed over.
And that's the funny thing about the American tax system. I remember reading a quote about how it's become so convoluted and it gets so updated that you have to pay somebody in order to make sure that you don't go to jail.
Yeah.
It's
the place
you have
is
to have an accountant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so broken that these things that we have to jump through these hoops just to be existing in that society. It's insane. If you really consider they act like they are the only country in the world, that there are no other options. That's the arrogance that I just working, especially inside the federal government, when you're working there, the behavior of these fucking people, like just the raw arrogance of them acting like that they are the only thing that there is. No, there's 200 freaking countries in the world,
Well, and that's why
I can go somewhere else.
Stuck in my brain always will be when I was a kid. I remember people telling me, if you don't like it, move to Russia. That used to be a big insult, right?
Yeah, or say, go, if you don't like it, you can always leave.
Right. Well, but they would only specifically say Russia if they said something.
I didn't hear that. I would just say, if you don't like it, you can leave.
They would always say, if you don't like it, go to Russia. Well, guess what? I didn't like it, and I went here, and now I like it. So fuck you.
Yeah.
I agree to some extent. Yeah.
Andrew, one news item that's.
I don't know. I think which one I think would think about the most would be like Syria.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got that one coming up. So the fall of Assad's regime in Syria made headlines last week. How do you think this will impact the region in the long term?
More instability.
I don't know anything about sand people. I don't care about them. Sorry.
Well,
Do you
your
think
tiny hat people seem to be taking more
I
land.
don't care about those Sam people either. I don't care
think-
about either one.
Whatever's going to happen is Israel and the United States are going to try to take full advantage to get that whole region under the hegemonic control of the
Israel
Jewish
already
Israeli
said they're
state.
taking that Golan Heights oil area, and they're going to stay there forever.
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
think it'll turn into a quagmire for the US?
Not yet, hopefully.
Okay.
If Israel presses on Iran and drags the U.S. along with it into a full-scale war against Iran, it'll make Afghanistan and Iraq. It'll be those two wars combined times like 5, maybe even times 10.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's like when I got guys my age that are like, I'm thinking I should join the military. I'm like, are you stupid? Why would you join the U.S. military? You really want to do the stuff they want you to, like, oh, you're going to go to the Middle East or you're going to go kill Russians? Like, you're stupid
know.
if you join the U.S. military.
Maybe like going if you can get in as like if you go in as a doctor, they'll pay for all your medical school and all that stuff.
But still, I'm going to patch people up so they can kill Russians or so they can go
Go become a
up to
dentist.
Syria.
Yeah, go become an army dentist.
I don't want to be part of it.
Well, when I joined,
I agree to that to some extent, but I'm looking through I'm thinking what was going through my head at that time when you don't have any money, you're 18, 19 years old and you're broke.
I joined in 2014, 2015. For me, growing up in rural America, like I said, my whole bookshelf was full of World War II stuff, and like I like the planes and all that stuff, and I grew up watching fucking Saving Private Ryan and all that fun stuff, and well, I mean, I guess probably just that resonates with a lot of people, like men, they're supposed to be protective, and you're supposed to take care of your people, and you're supposed to defend stuff, and so when you get fed that much stuff, that's what you think that you're doing. But then once you actually see what you're doing and you start getting transgender safety awareness training when you're supposed to be fixing a fucking helicopter, then you start to see, well, I don't think this is really what we're doing anymore.
Yeah, well, as if you have a son, you got to talk to him, you got to teach, you got to tell him how things are. And there's only to a certain extent that you can actually get stuff through his head. But like me, I thought about joining the military for a while. My dad always told me to become a cop. I don't know why. He thought I was going to be like a uniform patrolman. And I was like, why would I do that? But anyway, when I talked about going into OCS with the military, he was like, I don't think you'd like it. You don't like being told what to do. I'd be like, well, that's what fucking all life is. If you're working for somebody else, I'm like, you work for somebody else. You work for a company. Your boss tells you what to do. You're still getting told what to do. Oh, but I can always just quit. And I'd be like, yeah, and then you're not going to get any money. So, I mean, but the thing about it was like, he could have been more detailed. Just saying like, oh, you don't like taking orders. That's why you wouldn't like the military. You could talk about what's going on with this agenda, with the transgender crap, or fighting wars that don't involve the United States directly at all, like in the Middle East, but you're fighting for Israel or whatever, or fighting for U.S. economic hegemony by trying to, help the Ukrainians and, gain control over eastern Ukraine for BlackRock or whatever.
Well, see, my stepdad was a police officer, and he also used to say you wouldn't like the military, and you're not going to do well, you're going to get kicked out because you don't like to follow directions and stuff. And I don't know. I think it's a lame repeat line that a lot of police officers use on their children because actually,
my dad wasn't a police officer though.
What was he?
He was a logistics manager.
Oh.
His father was a police officer.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. So he's getting it from his dad. See, my stepfather's dad was also a police officer, so I had two of them in a row. And I think it's a lame line that probably your dad, he just repeated it because that's what he heard. And then
I was a police officer. I got to follow orders too, though. I mean, the thing is, it's like any job is like that, though.
But I'm choosing to do that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, even in the military, one of your general orders is if somebody gives you an unlawful order, you're not supposed to follow it.
If it's immoral or against the code of the institution you're part of, like the Marines code or whatever, then you can disobey that order. And, also, too, you got to look at these fucking boomers because they think they grew up in the Vietnam era and they're thinking like everybody's going to the military is going to be an infantryman or whatever. You do decent on your ASVAB, you can get a wide assortment of positions. I mean, there are people who are scoring very high in the test who do decide to go into infantry because that's what they want to do. But there's lots of different options. Like you can go and do air traffic control, and you can get out and be a civilian air traffic controller, or you could go into linguistics or intelligence or computer crap. You know, there's so many different things.
I scored so high that they were begging me to do intelligence, and I wanted to do Black Hawk mechanic.
Well, you know, that does have some
decision.
practical applications, though. Intelligence is kind of a niche field, and really, if you get specialized in it, you're only going to end up having to go work for the government in intelligence.
Sure, and that was my thought process as well.
And then who? CIA, NSA?
But then it turns out that
extremely
actually
competitive.
The military gets all of these young people to do aircraft degrees because they don't actually give you any credit for the aircraft training that you did. You have to go get your airframe and power plant license after you're done. So if you ever want to touch an aircraft again, you're not allowed to.
It's not even giving you any practical thing.
No. Because I thought, if I learn how to work on Blackhawks, I can go be a helicopter mechanic later, right? And then no, it turns out the military is exempt from the FAA guidelines. So you can teach a 19-year-old how to work on only a Blackhawk, and that's fine. But if they want to touch one after they get out, that's a felony. So they have to
get another certification,
right?
Yeah,
which takes like at least 2 to 3 years of school and.
Doesn't surprise me.
With the significant news regarding drone/UAP sightings over the U.S. and other countries, what do you think they are?
I forgot about that shit.
What do you think they are?
See, I was about to leave, but now I gotta stay.
I think it's all fucking meme bullshit.
Clearly, they want people to see them, or else there wouldn't be lights on them.
Yeah.
I think it's all meme bullshit to distract you from something else.
Do you think they're U.S. government?
Yeah.
I don't know where they're from.
Probably.
But I'm not concerned with them. I think that probably U.S. government, they want people to see them and to distract them or to lead them in a certain direction.
I think that there's too many things they could be doing, but one of the things
but they're all over the world.
Yeah,
South America,
it's all this
Russia,
it's all
China.
this viral stuff. This wasn't an issue 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like the balloon thing last year. Remember that shit with the Chinese sky balloon?
The Chinese balloon.
For a month, everybody was seeing balloons everywhere.
So what happens when all these people are seeing all these drones and all these balloons and all this other dumb shit? What is actually happening while that's going on? Because that's all you're seeing. It's taking up the internet. It's all that dead internet theory.
Ukraine is losing.
Right, Ukraine is
crazy
losing.
Stuff going on in the Middle East still. Continued genocide by the Israelis. Yeah.
They don't want you to see the Israeli stuff. They don't want you to see the Ukraine stuff.
Oh,
they
and
don't
the
want
U.S.
you to
tried
see
to
the
pass
Syria
this
stuff.
new spending bill that would fund the biolabs in Ukraine.
But they also don't want you to see all the problems that are happening in Korea. They don't want you to see what's happening in Japan.
Economic problems all over the EU, especially Germany right now.
Right, and then there's all these problems in Turkey and Greece, and then you have all these issues in what else was it? Ireland was having some problems too.
Okay, so the U.S. House Intelligence Committee held a briefing on these sightings. Do you think this is an indicator of a broader trend in security threats?
It's nonsense. As you know, they know who's controlling the drones. They know where the people controlling them are.
It's all bullshit.
Oh, we're not sure where they're coming from.
Well,
oh, yeah, sure.
I don't know what they're telling Congress, because they keep them in the dark to some extent, too. It's definitely, I would say it's extremely likely that it is something involving the U.S. government, and they are just lying to everybody. They might be telling some of Congress what is actually going on, but they're not authorizing.
But have you seen some of them where they're just like floating around and then they zip off and go into space?
I don't really pay much attention.
That was another theory: is that some of the drones, the one with the lights on them and stuff, are supposedly they're the legit U.S. government drones, and they're looking for those drones. As somebody was talking about on some show that I was watching, and that those ones are actually like UFOs. Basically, they think they might be aliens or something.
Yeah,
who knows?
Because you see them going into the water, coming out of the water, no splashing.
Interesting. I'm not really into watching
transmedium, no
splash
stuff. Okay.
I think those are altered videos and stuff.
Okay.
What always gets me is when you got someone's like, "Yeah, we have proof of this UFO." And it's like the proof is a radar reading. It's like, it's not that good of proof.
I kind of believe this stuff more maybe than flat Earth stuff, though. To be quite honest,
I believe there's aliens. I just don't believe in most of these supposed sightings.
Okay.
I think if there are aliens out of the whole vastness of space, why are they going to come here just to fly around with some fucking flashing lights and then they're just not going to say anything to you?
Well, as we discussed earlier, the theory is they're
because they don't want to
humans from the
mess with
future.
us.
Humans from the future
I don't know. They don't want to
coming back.
interfere.
Did you know in the last couple of days, AI has reached soft AGI?
I didn't know, but it doesn't surprise me.
It's
AI
now
has reached what?
soft
General intelligence.
general intelligence. So it's now better than the best math PhD.
And it's crazy when I talk about how good AI is to some people. They're like,
Good.
AI is only as smart as the people programming
Maybe we
it.
can.
So in the
Go
next
out of
6
space
months,
soon.
6 months, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, maybe we can actually land on the moon this time.
Yeah. Well, they did land on the moon. The
We
assassin-
have to figure out how to get us to a different planet.
Yeah,
That's
the
what we
assassination of a high-ranking Russian general in Moscow was reported. What does this indicate about the current state of international relations or covert operations?
Nothing new. They've been doing this.
need. Yeah. More Ukrainian
I mean,
hijinks.
this isn't the first assassination by Ukraine in a terrorist fashion of some Russian government or military person.
Okay.
I just think it's crazy how Russia can do something normal, apprehend somebody, and then, oh, you shouldn't be holding that person, that's a war crime or whatever, and then you can have some stupid fat fuck on a scooter blow everybody up. And
The Ukrainians use terrorist tactics.
well, yeah, it's
Okay. Okay, guys, let's wrap this up. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having us.
it, everybody. Any final thoughts? Anything?
Just hope we all survive, that there's no nuclear war or big bio-catastrophe or something. Life is good to live.
Steve?
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe I'll get back on sometime in the future.
Do you think the sanctions are going to drop once this
I have no idea.
this thing next door finishes?
I hope it does.
I don't bother
Thing
trying
next
to
door.
think what
Oh.
I think is going to
Next door.
happen. I just wait
Ukraine.
and see.
Yeah. I think it's going to take Trump a long time to wrap it up, and I think that they're already setting up roadblocks for him to actually end it quickly.
There's already
But-
reports that his team's already said they're still going to keep arming them, the Ukraine. And all
Yeah,
that
I've
sort
heard
of
that too.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
What can they do? I mean, all the stuff that they've done in the past just 2 months, that they've caused things that are going to make it slow down the reconciliation process. So
Yeah, so
I think that this thing
I think
is going to
Trump's full
continue
of-
for
I
another
think
year.
Trump's full of shit, essentially.
Yeah.
He can't stop the
Didn't I
war
say
in one
that?
day, like
Oh,
he
is that-
says.
No, but not even one day. I just
Not
don't
at
think
all,
it-
yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, how would he? You can't stop it.
But didn't Mitch McConnell say
Could,
they were
could, he,
going to...
could he sign an executive order just to cut the money off?
I thought Congress
Maybe.
already said they were not going to give him any more money.
Hmm.
But then Biden comes out and saying
And
they're
now
giving him another 40.
The EU's saying
Well, because
if
that
America
speak-
stops the money, they're going to send peacekeeping
That's-
troops.
Yeah, then Russia's
Then
not
the
gonna,
Russians
Russia's
just
not going to do
bomb
that.
them.
The Russia's not going to say that. Because that speaker today said he's going to keep trying funding Ukraine as much as possible.
Yeah, I think Trump's not going to put an end to it, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah. Okay.
They're running out of people, though, huh? Another year
They're taking disabled people now. I got a
They're,
buddy over
they're,
there.
yeah, they're lowering the age to 18.
to 18, they're going to.
I got a buddy
I
over
heard they
there.
were getting
took,
pressuring him to do it.
They took a guy he knows who needs a walker.
What the fuck is he going to do?
Get killed.
Yeah, exactly. Absorb bullets.
With his walker.
and probably take a clerk position or something.
I mean, he could, but I mean,
You see,
that's not what they're running out of. Not running out of clerks. They're running out of frontline combat
Yeah,
troops.
But you see all of these people that are fighting on the front lines, and you have to remember, for each one of those guys that's fighting, there's like 10 more guys that are doing something else in a support role behind them.
That's if you're comparing with the U.S. military. We're not talking about that though. I mean,
Well,
we don't know what the ratios are with them.
We don't know, but I mean, logically,
Yeah, but who's running?
You have to support them somehow.
Yeah, but who's running all their logistics? The EU and the U.S.
Yeah.
So these Ukrainian dudes are getting used up as cannon fodder for and we're running the logistics. So.
Yep.
Well, I guess once the war ends, I can go there and be real easy to pick up chicks since all the men are gone.
Well,
Right?
the
Oh,
chicks
yeah.
left also.
They're more crazy than here.
Wholesale Ukrainian.
Well, yeah, but they speak
Poontang.
English.
Okay.
better, I guess, just to go to Poland. There's more Ukrainian chicks there than Ukraine now.
Oh yeah.
The brothels of Western Europe are full.
Yeah.
I did not have good luck with that last time. I will not do that
It
again.
reminds me, one time I was in London at a hotel, walking down the hallway, and I was like, not yelling in a mean way, but like yelling to the maid way down the hall because I needed her assistance with something. Come in the bedroom, take my do some stuff. But no, I was trying to get her attention, and she wouldn't respond. I yelled in Russian. She turned right around.
There you go. Okay, again, thanks guys for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Let's wrap it up. Bye everybody.